Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, what is going on with Shedeur Sanders? Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Nothing about the guy personally, but Pearl, it's really hard to get a beat on how the NFL views Shedeur Sanders, where he may go, and it's hard not to think, all right, the owners' meetings just happened in Palm Beach. All the coaches are there. All the owners are there. And then all of a sudden, here comes the number one insider in all of NFL, Adam Schefter, saying Shedeur's dropping.
Yeah. And, for what they're worth, you see mock drafts. He's kind of all over the place. There's certain mock drafters who've always had him in the 20s. There's got to be a couple theories. Can I throw out one?
Yeah, go ahead. Well, do you want to play the Schefter sound, or you want to go straight into the theory?
I'll share my theory.
All right. Perloff's got a theory, but first, let's lay it out for you like professional broadcasters. Here's Adam Schefter talking about Shedeur Sanders.
And it certainly feels like the Cleveland Browns are inclined to look elsewhere aside from quarterback. And it's starting to feel like the New York Giants at number 3 are starting to look elsewhere other than quarterback.
That sounded more dramatic, I think, than it needed to be, because I think his connection got a little
did
it get drawn out?
Elsewhere.
That sounded really ominous. Elsewhere, like where? Well, we know, right? Because the Giants just signed Russell Wilson and they have Jameis. Now, these are not long-term solutions. And obviously, we got the rumor earlier this week from Diana Rossini about the Browns and Kirk Cousins, and there's some smoke there. And Kirk was at a Chipotle in Cleveland. I'm sure he just
actually, maybe they have better Chipotles there.
And Cleveland, Ohio is the best Chipotles in the world. Everyone knows that.
All right, I'll share my theory that the.
Oh wait, there's more.
Oh sure,
more Schefter. Let's go.
If the Browns don't take Shedeur Sanders at 2, and if the Giants don't take Shedeur Sanders at 3, and that is the feel that I'm getting recently, where is Shedeur Sanders going?
Chipotle?
Mm-hmm. Maybe. It is delicious. Okay, so Schefter, number one insider in the NFL, saying Shedeur Sanders now is way up in the air. 2 and 3 maybe off the board. So then where does he go? Okay, now Perloff, present your theory.
Oh, and Schefter also said the Raiders are unlikely for him too. So maybe he had the Steelers as one of the teams. But Browns need a quarterback, right? They are a perfect team. They're working out Shedeur on Friday, actually, after the pro day. Giants desperately need a quarterback.
Yeah. So, it's a mandate from ownership. Find a quarterback of the future.
A lot of people think Shedeur Sanders is an elite quarterback, had elite stats at Colorado. I mean, he obviously should be in the mix. Is the Shedeur-ness of it all turning these teams away? And when I say that, is it Dion? Are these coaching staffs and maybe the GMs as well, is something about the whole situation bothering them? And are they passing? Because logically, it makes sense for both these teams to look really hard at Shedeur and probably take him there. We all know the value of quarterbacks. In every other draft, the quarterback goes really high. I'm starting to wonder, do teams not want Dion in the building?
Okay, well, let's talk about that, because I understand that we've got like 40 years, basically, of Deion Sanders in our life as a famous person and an all-time great football player, maybe the best ever. I mean, you could make that argument, but here's the thing. Do you have to give him a little benefit of the doubt that he really has not made a lot of waves this draft process? We had that one thing where he was not at a sports event. It was like some kind of conference about supply chains or something that he was clearly just getting paid a lot to be a spokesperson for, or a keynote. And he said, we love New York, but we love Cleveland. And he's kind of stayed out of this. Like, I think we have to give this sports dad a little credit that he has not thrown his weight around we thought.
Not publicly.
Publicly.
I mean, come on. I think you're being a little naive there. You think if Shedeur Sanders goes to the Browns or the Giants, Dion would not be a major factor. Shedeur's never had another coach at any level. Dion has always been his coach. So this is a whole new formula. I'm not sure. Right now, Dion is saying the right things. Also, he's got to get his others, close. He's got to get Travis drafted by one of these teams as well.
Yeah,
Travis Hunter, who lives at his house. Yeah, but I don't think he wants to upset these teams. He's not going to come out and say anything anti-Cleveland when every mock draft now is Travis Hunter at number 2. So I generally think, yeah, he might be laying back, but we don't hear from. Have we heard anything from the Miami coach or the Ole Miss coach with Jackson Dart or the Alabama coach with Kellen Moore? You've at least heard something from Deion. He's just a lightning rod. He's going to have a lot of mics in his face. Everyone's going to ask him, what did you think of this? What did you think of that? So my question is, Shedeur is so overwhelmingly talented. Do you want to take that into your franchise? To me, that's the most logical explanation of why he could be quote unquote falling. That maybe there's just too much surrounding Shedeur and he's not quite good enough to take that on. Because I do think if you're the Cleveland coach and you're the New York Giants coach, you know what? Deion has said he'd only coach in the NFL if it was son. I'm not sure I would want Deion over my shoulder because I think talent-wise, to me, Shedeur seems just fine to go 2 or 3.
Right.
He had a lot of success. I'm not sure. It seems like there might be intangibles or other reasons that, if it's true, what Schefter says, that he would not go in those 2 and 3 picks.
Yeah, I mean, we should also leave open the possibility that these are smokescreens, and that Cleveland and the Giants don't want to tip their hand. But let's pause on the Deion of it all. This is my thing about teams now are worried about Deion, like. But you don't know what Deion is, like you know.
Teams have never scouted his kids.
Yeah, but like now here we are, less than a month away from the draft, and now the dad's going to be an issue. And he has, as I said, he's been in our lives for 40 years. He's been famous for all this time. He's been at Colorado for 2 years. Like we're all settled into our roles here. Nothing's new. Now the self-preservation of not wanting Deion over your shoulder, that he's going to come in and try to move you out and put himself in to coach his kid. Sure, that's totally real. But that also is something that a head coach really can't control. Like whether John Mara or the Haslams want to, pull Deion away from Colorado at some point, like that's going to happen over your protestations or not. So it's almost like the only worry about what you can worry about. Do you think you can win games with Shedeur? Because if you win games with Shedeur, then Deion's not going anywhere. He's just got his extension at Colorado, and he will stay at Colorado, I imagine, or stay in college.
Yeah. Yes.
Win games. That's your job anyway as a coach,
I
right?
think we disagree too. I think that there are risks that Deion will be outspoken against your team.
Sure.
I think that because he's such a huge celebrity.
Definitely.
He's the celebrity. And again, we haven't heard that much from him in draft season. We've heard a lot more from him than any other. I'm sorry, I don't know what Mr. Dart does. I don't know what Mr. Milrow or Mr. Shuck does.
Yeah, well, Mr. Milrow is at every game. The camera finds him.
He's very nice, right?
Does a naysayer know?
But I just think that
when Reese Davis' life flashed before his eyes,
it's not even Deion's fault. We have a segment called the Daily Deion. We don't have the Daily Bill Shuck, Tyler Shuck's dad.
The Daily Bill.
I don't know.
We would have a segment called
the Daily Bill.
Can I float another thing for you? Why I do not think that Shedeur Sanders is going to fall out of the top 3. I think he's definitely going top 3. Cleveland, Giants, whatever it is, I think he's definitely going top 3. And can I tell you another reason why? I know this is a small one, and you and I disagree on whether or not NFL teams need stars. Right? Because you think, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, that like the NFL kind of sells itself. The ratings are there no matter what. You don't need stars. Can I take you back, though, to that offseason Hard Knocks where the New York Giants really showed everybody how incompetent they are? And one thing that John Mara, the owner, said to the general manager, Joe Schoen, is not, we need to keep Saquon because he's an all-time great player, although he is. He's our biggest star. He said that. So whether you think that the NFL needs stars or I think they need stars, John Mara is trying to sell tickets to, and obviously the TV deal. They need a star there. Yeah. I know Malik Neighbors is awesome, but, it's different, I think, for a wide receiver that has Tommy DeVito or even Russell Wilson or even Jameis Winston throwing him the ball, as opposed to a quarterback that's razzle-dazzle, that is...
Like Daniel Jones?
Yeah. Well, I think they kind of learned from that, right? Like they thought he'd be the next Eli. If it turns out that
Razzle Dazzle, his cleat was so sharp, on his khakis.
Yeah, the backpack he was wearing in was so fly. But the thing is that you can get away with aw shucks Eli Manning can be a star because he wins and
Right,
because his last name is Manning.
That's a counter. Right. Eli actually did have that name, too.
Yep.
That's a counter
Same with
argument.
Shedeur.
If you win, the fans will come. No, listen, Peter Schrager, now newly of ESPN, said the same thing, that John Mara is tired of being the fifth game on Fox every single week. He will probably want some attention. It can't be fun to see Washington all of a sudden get good. And Dallas will always get attention. And the Eagles are Super Bowl champs. Totally. So I'm coming around on that, but
and they just watched this Rodgers, the Jets. Now that imploded, but it is your across the street rival who got all the attention in the world.
Right, but counter argument: Travis Hunter, if he's available at 3, he could be that kind of star. And Abdul Carter, that has to be attractive to them too. This is the franchise that had their biggest star in history is a pass rusher in Lawrence Taylor. Their second biggest star, arguably, is Michael Strahan. So I do think and they're a team that likes to repeat itself. So you could squint and see the star power. I absolutely understand what you're saying. That's why I'm saying it almost seems like something else is going on that we don't know about if this report that he's falling is true. Because all the logic from day one has said, you've been saying New York Giants and Shedeur makes so much sense. Mm-hmm. And I kind of agree with you. He's clearly a good quarterback. Say what you want. He's not athletic. He doesn't have the massive arm, but he was very successful. I think he holds on the ball way too long.
Yeah.
Kind of like Caleb Williams and kind of like Cam Ward. But by the way, did some research real quick.
Yeah.
Tyler Shuck's dad is Glenn.
Oh, Glenn.
2 N's, retired police officer, currently teaching criminal justice with driver's education. I don't know what that means.
The criminal justice, you caught my ear. The driver's ed, I could probably take or leave.
Should we have a daily Glenn? 2 N's.
Well, appreciate the guy being a former cop, right? I guess. Putting your life on the line to keep us safe.
Met his wife, Dana, at Arizona State University.
Were they athletes?
I don't see. No, he was a cop.
How scary is it if your parents are cops? I was just talking to someone the other day.
Scary because you'll get caught.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to this woman the other day whose dad is a private investigator, and she said high school was just a nightmare because the evidence, like you're never going to be one step ahead of a PI.
Yeah, but you're never going to get arrested because you're Glenn's kid. You get let go.
Right. Do you know Glenn? Do you have any idea who my father is? No.
You can't get a speeding ticket in Chandler, Arizona if you know Glenn.
But you drop Glenn's name, just the door's open. But think about that as, it's not just about getting arrested, it's just about getting caught in general, right? Like, your dad's a private investigator. You can't sneak out of the house.
It's annoying. I mean, that's so funny. Would you rather have your dad be a high-profile coach who has mics in front of him every day? Because I don't know what life was like for Shedeur.
Or a former cop.
Yeah. I'm trying to find what Jackson Dart said. I'll have to
keep looking.
Do that. Yeah, no, I do. Because you're right. I think you're right. I think the logic says Shedeur should go 2 or 3. It's got to be things we're not considering, or they just don't think the talent's there. There are we've heard reports of draft analysts who said, I don't know if he's really an A+ talent.
So one thing that Schefter did say on his pod, we're talking about Shedeur Sanders, is he going to fall out of the top 3? The comp that Adam Schefter said he was hearing from a lot of coaches and people at the NFL owners meetings was Mac Jones. And I kind of get it, right? Like, what's the elite trait? It's obviously the completion percentage, right? 74%. He's got great awareness. I guess good decision maker. He does hold on to the football a lot. But Mac Jones, and let's not forget, Kyle Shanahan loved Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Other teams loved Mac Jones when he was coming out. So, the Patriots took him, made the playoffs his rookie year with Mac Jones. So it wasn't all bad.
I don't totally get that because Mac Jones was in that crazy Alabama offense with Heisman Trophy winners at wide receiver, and he had a lot of time.
Well, so was Shedeur.
But no, Shedeur was...
Travis won the Heisman.
Shedeur was always under pressure.
Right.
Like, that's why I think it seems like I get it, maybe physically he's like Mac Jones, but I feel like they came from very different situations. Shedeur was getting rushed like crazy and standing in there. When I think of Mac Jones would take 3 steps to just hurl it up to Devontae Smith. I just think it was a little easier. I don't like the Andy Dalton comparison either. That what was it, Tim Hasselbeck or Matt Hasselbeck or one of the main? Tim Hasselbeck, because Andy was actually a really good runner in college, like a superb runner. He was super mobile, and Shedeur doesn't run, so it's hard to find the perfect one. What's the other? There's another guy that we talked about last night. He gets a lot of comparisons.
Mel Kiper said Chad Pennington.
Chad Pennington,
right.
Okay.
Before the
shoulder
injury. Well,
yeah.
Chad Pennington was good, Manny, before he got hurt.
Yeah, Chad, especially at Marshall with Randy Moss.
Oh, I didn't think that was a negative comp for Chad
Pennington. I didn't think so either.
I mean, Andy made Pro Bowls, Chad made Pro Bowls.
Well, if he ends up like Chad Pennington, I'm good.
Kirk Cousins, we've talked about Shedeur because Stefanski at number 2 is always looking for his next Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I don't know. I just think, I wonder, of all those comparisons, I think the Browns and the Giants would take any of those guys. Maybe not at 2 or 3.
So the question is, do you think Shedeur Sanders is going to drop out of the top 3? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And the other part, is this because of Deion? I think Deion deserves a little credit. He's been pretty quiet here. I thought we were getting the full Deion. Like, I only want him going here and fun phrases and, the whole thing. And,
No.
I think that's because Deion's worried he's going to fall.
Maybe. So it's like you want to just sort of button it up, but I don't know does Deion deserve a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt, considering he really hasn't thrown his weight around. 888-710-4ISN publicly. 888-710-4476. Will Shedeur drop out of the top 3? Crazy night last night in LA. We'll get to that. Nuts. How does he keep doing this? Of course, I'm talking about Shohei. How? And also, who is the most frustrated person in the NFL? We have a definitive answer, and we will get that to you as well. It's the Maggie and Perloff Show. Let's go.
I'm going to hug him.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Hey,
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Talking about Shedeur Sanders, according to Adam Schefter, falling past the Browns at number 2, past the Giants at number 3. You brought up a good point. Why is Schefter saying this? Why now? I love playing draft detective. Is he carrying water for somebody? Is this somebody sending a message? Are the Giants lying to everybody? I don't know why.
I mean, I hate to be cynical about it, but is it also to just get interest in the draft? Like, this one is a little, I don't want to say short on stars because you got Travis Hunter, you got Abdul Carter, but in terms of quarterbacks, it's a little short on QBs. We all think Cam Ward's going 1, and Shedeur is kind of the next most interesting thing. And then the whole Jackson Dart getting pushed into the top 10 feels a little flimsy.
Well, I mean, that happens every year. Why not Jackson Dart? I mean,
I just think a lot of those times it ends up not being true. Like, is he more likely to have a Will Levis kind of fall to the second round?
Or could he be Baker Mayfield, who went from third rounder to second rounder to first rounder in a matter of 3 weeks? It was strange.
Not first rounder, first overall.
Yeah, first overall. It actually happens to a lot of. You're right. There is a Will Levis and a Geno Smith who fell, but there's a lot of guys who all of a sudden rise up. Bo Nix was not in a lot of first round mocks at this time last year, I don't believe, and he worked out pretty good. All right, Cincinnati Bengals, or as you may call them, the Bungles, Maggie.
Yeah.
What are those crazy cats in Cincy up to right now?
Well, okay, so this started earlier this week, and it was Katie Blackburn, who's the executive vice president of the Bengals. Now, you'll remember, the Bengals have already signed T. Higgins, and they've already signed Jamar Chase, 2 big-time deals, after Joe Burrow basically went on like a world tour lobbying for the team to sign these 2 guys. And he would always kind of throw Trey Hendrickson in also.
Barrows.
But obviously, as Burrow wants his 2 targets, went to Super Bowl Radio Row, went to every single interview, went on the Barstool podcast and started talking about signing bonuses and how you convert that into cap space. Like, he basically is acting as the de facto GM of the team, and he's got a lot of power. You can understand why. But here's Trey Hendrickson, not signed. So according to Kelsey Conway, the Cincinnati Enquirer, there's no sound on this, apologies. Quote, I think he should be happy at certain rates that maybe he doesn't think he'd be happy at, she said of Hendrickson. I think some of it's on him to be happy at some point, and if he's not, that's what holds it up sometimes.
Hey-o.
So, it takes him to say yes to something, and also we have all the respect in the world for him. He's been a great player. We're happy to have him, so maybe we'll find a way to get something to work. We're just going to have to see where it goes. Well, that's not very encouraging. So here's Trey Hendrickson yesterday on the Pat McAfee show. Let's unload the clip here, Manny, on this sound. It says the Bengals communication, first of all, has been pretty poor.
Communication has been poor over the last couple of months. That's something that I hold in high regard. They have not communicated with my agent directly. It's been something that's been a little bit frustrating, but again, this is the business of it.
Okay, more from Hendrickson. He's been talking with the Bengals about a long-term deal for a while now. It's not new.
Last year and the year before, I've been talking about long-term contract, guaranteed money, things like that. And it was discussed with me in a meeting, which I'm very fortunate to have had with my agent, that we would get something done this year. So that being said, last year, go out and play to the level you have, we'll get it done. that was communicated with me. So that basically, this year is going to get worked on. They also reiterated that at the combine.
Yeah, but meanwhile, now Bubkiss. Trey also comparing the communication with him compared to the deals they just got done with Higgins and Chase.
When I say it's been poor, it's been like here and there, and respect to Jamar and T. I don't want to take anything away from all the great things they've accomplished in their careers. They deserve everything that they've gotten. And no doubt in my mind, they're going to excel in the National Football League. I have a tremendous respect for both of them. But when it comes to my situation, it would have been nice to know, in some ways, like, hey, we're going to put you in the queue. No problem with me.
Right. So like the pecking order is Higgins, Chase, and then we'll get around to you. Last one for you from Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals. As far as any kind of deadline for getting a deal done?
Well, when you have things like OTAs coming and guys like Sam Hubbard, who's a tremendous captain for our team last year, that leaves a vacancy for that. And I'm excited to fill that. But how do we reach that before we get there? And those are the things that matter when you're talking about a Super Bowl. It's in the little things and the little details.
Okay, so he's obviously upset. Whose side are you on here? Are you on Trey Hendrickson? It looks like the team was misleading him. Or are you on the Bengals? Hey, this is a business. He's in his ninth year in the league, and it's, we might not want to give you all this guaranteed money.
Yeah, as you talking me as Andrew Perloff or me as a Bengals fan? Because if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm like, wow, I think the Bengals actually tripped into doing this the right way. I mean, what would Bill Belichick do? Obviously, this wouldn't even be a negotiation. He's not re-signing a 31-year-old. He's actually, 30-year-old pass rusher at whatever $1 million a year. He would have played hardball. Feels like the Bengals came out and said to the market, hey, you want him, you got him, give us a first-round pick. And no one said that. Therefore, they have every right to suppress his price. Kind of feels like the Bengals did this the right way.
I mean, this is not a great way to go about it when the guy has to go on McAfee show and say basically that the team's been lying to me about this, but we all understand it's a business. I can't help but put a little of the blame here on Burrow. I think what Burrow says really carries a lot of weight with the organization, clearly, right? Because I think the organization probably would have traded T. Higgins if they could have gotten what they wanted to for Higgins. But Joe wants Higgins. Jamar Chase is a whole other thing. They were signing him. But Joe's out there stumping for, all three guys, but it really felt like it was a lot weighted towards his two targets.
Yeah.
So those guys got done
Shocker.
first. Right. Those guys got done first, even though the biggest problem with the Bengals last year was clearly defense.
Right.
And Trey Hendrickson had 17 and a half sacks, and they still couldn't make the playoffs. I can't help but think that, Burrow has to wear this a little bit because he clearly had a preference, and it's the Bengals. We know they are notoriously cheap. Like, them getting all three of these guys done always felt like a complete and total farce.
Right. But again, I don't know. It seems like this might be they might be in the right in this one. Would you? Because if they pay a ton to Trey Hendrickson, their defense stinks. Like that is, and they're paying a ton to their two receivers. You're choking off the future of improving this defense. I don't know if I'm looking at that defense. Am I really investing all that money in Trey Hendrickson? I think the smarter way probably would be to spread it out. The question is, will the Bengals actually spread it out?
Well, here's the thing: you got a new defensive coordinator now this year, right? You brought over, was it Al Golden? Lou Anarumo is gone. You got a new defensive coordinator, and here's the thing. Like, having an all-time pass rusher, these are the guys you do want to pay, right? And then you fill in with the draft. Like, isn't that part of it? You have to get cheap.
You want
at
to pay
certain
them
positions.
in their prime.
Well,
You don't want to get stuck with your Von Miller in Buffalo. And that's a question. I think they're playing hardball. And as the Bengals are wanting to do, I do think they're cheap. I agree with that. I'm not, in this particular situation, I generally think, I just think we're labeling the team because we know the Bengals are cheap. If Bill Belichick's Patriots did this, we wouldn't blink an eye.
I think Bill Belichick's Patriots probably would have traded Trey Hendrickson 2 years ago.
He would have been gone. Or they probably would have cut him. I mean, they didn't. Yeah, I mean.
I don't know if they cut him, but I think they would have traded him when that first-round pick was still a possibility.
Yeah, I don't know if the Bengals, what they're supposed to do here. Like, they really, to put that much money to three players the way your team was last year. I think it's too late to use that money on free agency this year, but generally they're not a Trey Hendrickson away from fixing that defense. So they have some bigger global problems right here.
So here I think is the bigger question, not blame and getting into the nitty-gritty of what's going on with the Bengals, but the question is, are they for sure a contender still? Like you're talking about, you have Joe Burrow, so you have maybe the second best quarterback in the league, definitely top 5, wherever you want to put Joe. You got this done with the 2 receivers. Defense is still a big question mark, and add on the Trey Hendrickson. Like, the Bengals are in their window. This is it. This is the time. They were just in the Super Bowl and backed it up with another trip to the AFC Championship game. Like, are they getting closer to going back to the Super Bowl, or are we getting further away here? Like, this is a very tenuous moment, I think, for the Bengals this season. They should have all the pressure in the world to get back to being one of those teams that is supremely feared.
Yeah, but I mean, they had Trey Hendrickson last year. What happened?
Well, the rest of the defense was terrible. I mean, the Browns had Myles Garrett. They paid him. I mean,
what's going to change next year? I mean, whether they pay him or not, honestly, they'd be better off really playing hardball here, I think, and fixing. They need a lot of dudes, and they let their best safety out of the building. They need to rebuild that defense from start. You're right. They should have traded him before, and I know they put him out on the market, and I know the rest of the NFL said, nope, too old, too expensive.
I mean, pass rushers are getting paid, though. Myles Garrett's getting paid. Now, he may be in a different category because he's so elite. Max Crosby is older, and he just got paid.
I think Max, but they're younger than Hendrickson. Crosby, I think, is 27. Garrett is 29 or 30. I just think the market's a little lower on Hendrickson. Now, obviously, they're both negotiating here. Once again, we're getting caught in a negotiation like we did with Matthew Stafford a month ago. They're both, I get it. Trey Hendrickson's pushing his buttons, and the Bengals are pushing their buttons.
I mean, he's asked for a trade now a couple times. One other, just kind of a funny
So
thing.
did Myles Garrett.
Yeah, that's true. Another funny thing about this Trey Hendrickson interview, just a small thing that I noticed. So he's really wants the long-term deal, and it looks like because he and his wife really want to buy a house. Like in this economy, good luck. But he said the number one app that he uses on his phone is Zillow. Anyone else? No? You guys aren't Zillow people? My husband is obsessed with Zillow.
Why?
Have you ever been on it?
Yeah.
Right. So it's just fun, like looking at all the houses that are possibly for sale around you. Like, I think some people like that as an activity, like going to open houses and kind of thinking about where you might live, even if you don't necessarily want to move right now.
Well, my parents do the Zillow. They'll hang because they want to move to Florida eventually, so they'll just spend hours on Zillow.
There you go.
I did accidentally on purpose. I did end up on a link to James Cook's place in Orchard Park.
Saw that.
Up for sale,
I was hoping that you wouldn't bring it up.
But yeah, like
and out.
I was just kind of hoping that maybe there's like a housing shortage and he's realizing that maybe he can get a lot for his place. Maybe he's upgrading. Huh? No?
Yeah.
Maybe he's got his eye on
$710,000, by the way.
For it. I mean, that's probably got to be one of the nicer houses out there.
Right down the street.
$710,000 for an NFL player?
Right down the street from Highmark Stadium.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
I mean, guys, he's still in the rookie contract, and the GM just came out and said, we're not paying you.
And it's Buffalo.
And it's Buffalo. Like,
that's
going
like
to be a
$7 million.
Yeah.
Not even Buffalo. It's Orchard Park.
Yeah, it's Orchard Park, which is also one lane in, one lane out. Like, have you guys been to Buffalo?
Yes.
Man, he lived there.
I've never been to Buffalo, so I don't
$750,000 house in Buffalo is nothing to sneeze at.
God, that's amazing.
My favorite part also about the listing was you could see on the walls James Cook, like his jersey from college and like his Bills jersey as well. Like just up there for everybody to see. Like, yeah, this is my place. I'm not staying at this place. I might be upgrading, huh?
I'm hoping. I don't want him to leave, but it looks like it's going pretty badly between him and the team because every other person got extended this offseason. Even Josh Allen with 4 years left on his deal, which is a different type of thing.
Maybe he just wants to go to Hamburg. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why would you want to re-sign James Cook?
He's
Because
nice.
he's awesome.
I don't know.
And the running back is back, Pearl.
Yeah, I know.
They drafted Ray Davis. They basically drafted his replacement.
You got the best out of him. You got to start thinking like Belichick again, Maggie. You're getting soft. You're getting emotionally tied to players.
Oh, sue me. James Cook is like the best thing that ever happened to the Bills was them starting to go more to Cook. But I did see that his house was for sale.
Yeah, I know. They got all those carries on his legs and then move on to a new guy. I've so funny this running back revolution. Yeah, James Cook's a guy. I feel like you're going to give him a big contract and it's not going to go well.
Can I also just ask you, if it's not Zillow and like not, what is the number one app you use besides sports stuff?
James Cook's place was not on Zillow. Do what you wish
not.
with that information.
It was on something else?
Yeah.
Craigslist?
No, it was not on Craigslist.
Reddit or
Redfin?
No, it was like Hunt's Properties or something like that. It must be some local.
It's going to be by appointment only. You
think
can't
so?
just walk into. I don't think he's doing an open house.
You don't think
Be
they're
too
doing
many crazy Bills fans there, like going through his drawers.
Meaning Maggie.
Yeah.
Maybe me. Number one app, not Zillow.
I've never
for
been
me
to
or
an
just in general? You think?
No, for you guys.
I've actually
Instagram, easy.
never been to an open house.
Probably IG.
I've never been to an open house. I want to go to one
You've
day.
never been to an open house?
No. The only experience I have with open houses is the movie I Love You, Man, where Jason Segel's a real estate broker. Because I live in New York City, and the apartments don't do that as much.
How about when you were doing
Yeah.
college searches? An open house then?
What do you mean?
When you were looking for a school? Before?
What kind of open house?
Like whenever an open, colleges had open houses back in the day.
Oh,
you could
yeah.
just go
No,
to
I
the
mean
college
like,
and tour it, essentially.
I mean like when you go through somebody's living room and
Yeah.
you maybe
see all
sneak
their
up their
photos
bedroom.
of their family, and you
I
open
don't-
up their closets and all their craps in
Yeah,
there.
I don't love those. I don't like being in a situation where I'm like maybe competing with other people for because I think it actually I think it's a smart business move. Obviously, why they do it because I think it makes me like competitive. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh no, I want this, and then, like this place is mid. I'm
Have
like,
you
why
ever
am
shown
I?
up to an open house and there's cars down the block and people are walking? Yeah.
No, I don't like that. It's like it puts. I think it inflates the actual value of the house.
Oh, it's smart then.
Yeah, that's
Totally.
brilliant. That's why people do it. I don't like being there.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to go through the person's into any room you want in an open house, or certain rooms?
Sometimes they'll lock like a storage closet or something like that, but no, for the most part, if it's for sale, you got to be able to
You get
see
to go
everything.
to every bathroom and
Basement, bathroom,
Yeah.
walk-in closet, attic.
You can't move stuff. And but you can walk around. We went to one time where there's the back third of the house was off limits because the son was in there and he was mad that they were moving. And it's no, but it was it might have been a divorce. It was a bad season. It was not a good omen for this being an easy sale. That there was acrimony.
Cousin It's in the back.
Yeah, and he was squatting in the basement. It's no thanks.
My
We'll leave
kid,
now.
We would go to a lot of open houses before we got this house, and for some reason, my kid always wanted to use the bathroom at everyone's, and it's it's kind of like
It's a good
yeah.
trick though.
But
I'm
it's
a big
like
bathroom guy. Love
No.
visiting bathrooms and places. I'm not gonna lie. Stop and shop, whatever. I don't care. Oh,
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a weirdo.
you like going into public bathrooms.
That's right.
Just
I'm a
to
creep.
check them out.
Yeah, to also use them. But while I'm in there, I'm like, this is a nice bathroom. This people got money.
Is there
Yeah.
something like an urge? Like as soon as you're out, you're like, I gotta go.
It just kind of happens. Especially when I go to a fancy place.
I got to tell you, in living in New York
Bookstores.
City forever, I know which stores have good public bathrooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's something you become very well aware of.
No, you gotta case the joint.
Yeah. I knew which. I know that Barnes and Noble 6 blocks away is going to come in handy.
Do you guys remember there was a thing called the ESPN zone?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
it was
yeah.
sports bars and these big things. They had TVs in the toilets where you
Wow.
could watch
Yep.
Sports Center while you go.
Oh, that's
Or
amazing.
whatever.
That place was awesome. I don't know why they closed it.
My legs would fall asleep so quickly.
Manny's squatting there.
Where's Manny?
He lives here
Do you
now.
guys like when you're at a
Watching
urinal and
Jalen
there's a
Brunson
newspaper
highlights.
in front of you? I don't know if they do that as much. You probably haven't had that, but that's a big thing where the
something I don't
sports
know.
page is in a frame right in front of the urinal.
Oh, in a frame. I thought
Yeah.
someone left it like
No,
it's
no,
reading material.
no. They post it in front of you. Bogus, you've seen this,
a
right?
frame
Not in a
like
long
we landed
time.
on the
Oh,
moon,
they don't do that
like
anymore.
No, I don't think they do that anymore. No.
What? That's not that.
I mean, have you seen one recently? You go to
I
urinals all
don't
the time.
know.
Wait, these are classic sports pages or classic moments in history?
No, like today's paper is up. I didn't know.
Yeah, we don't
I
even
didn't
have
feel like that
papers
was an
anymore,
old
let
school
alone hung papers and urinals.
I don't even remember that. Maybe
Maybe
I'm
you guys.
too, maybe I'm
It's
too
like a
young.
sports bar thing. You've never seen this?
No, I have, but again, not since 2000.
Is that somebody's job too to replace the newspapers and the urinals every day?
Has to be.
Yeah, I guess so.
Somebody who's very underpaid, most likely.
That poor hostess.
Yeah, that stinks.
No, pun
Okay.
intended there.
888-710-4ISN. Bogues, well, we killed that. Will you hang around for us? I know, big day for you yesterday. Big day
Yeah,
for you,
huge
the
day.
Fordham Rams.
You're
You were
lucky I'm even
introducing your new
here.
coach.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got to lunch with him, Matt? Well, we'll get the story on the other side.
Somebody joined the Ramily.
Exciting.
Open house.
Never
in
heard
the
of it
Bronx.
before, but that will change, I'm sure. 888-710-4ISN. Do you go to open houses for fun? It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
My dog
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
this is the Fordham Rams fight song.
Don't even need to ID it, Maggie. Everyone knows.
Yeah, it's just basically Hail to the Victors.
Yeah, all fight songs sound exactly the same.
Yeah, true. I think it's by design. But we play that in honor of Andrew Bogusch, who was out yesterday because he was introducing the new Fordham head basketball coach to the world. Because we've literally never heard of this guy before. Or
Fordham or UC Riverside.
But good luck to everybody in the Rams Nation. You have headlines for us, though, more important.
Yes, the headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. How do you do this? My friends to my left are without Knicks gear this morning. I assume they didn't even leave something out since their team was playing somebody good last night.
And you can see the Knicks are wilting out front. Allen with a steal to the other end. Pow! With arms like snakes. Jared Allen with the steal and the thunderous tomahawk dunk. That's the dagger.
Want to thank Tim Alcorn on Cavs Radio for reading my script word for word. Cleveland,
Arms like snakes.
With a 124-105 home win over New York. 21 points from Jared Allen, 27 from Donovan Mitchell. Tom Thibodeau's team still hasn't beaten the Cavs or the Celtics this season.
We're capable of beating anyone. We're capable of losing to anybody, too. So just come back, take what you can, learn from the game, and then get ready for the next one. So then that's... You never change your approach, but we've beaten teams that are plus 500 teams too.
Yeah, but again, they haven't beaten the Celtics or the Cavs in the East, the Thunder or the Lakers in the West. So are they actually capable of beating anybody?
Both Jalen Brunson scored yesterday.
But I hope you win the lottery and lose your ticket.
Thank you. The Celtics, by the way, had their 9-game winning streak snapped at home yesterday, 124-103 by the Heat. Miami now on a 6-game run. They're a game clear of the Bulls for 9th in the East. The Pacers and Rockets clinched playoff spots last night. Indy down Charlotte 119-105 behind 22 points and 10 assists from Tyrese Halliburton. And Houston thumped Utah 143-105. And Joel Embiid officially headed for a left knee scope. The next update's in 6 weeks. Embiid and the team believe this will get him back to his normal self for next season. You are free to interpret what normal means in this situation.
I actually saw the Shams tweet about that. I was like, wait, he hasn't had knee surgery yet?
What's the holdup?
What is going on?
He's been
here?
shut down for weeks.
His career's over. The Sixers are over. It's done.
Can you even trade him though? Like, does this make it better to trade him off the knee surgery or not?
A team would take him?
I don't know.
That's the most evil laugh EJ's ever let out.
I mean, he'll probably be a Nick. I mean, an old beat up guy.
Yeah, right.
Historically, New York would be a good landing spot for a player like that.
Who's the place that's signing old guys over the hill right now?
Yeah, it is Daryl.
The Philadelphia 76ers, they signed Paul George recently, didn't they?
Then you also have PJ Tucker.
It wasn't that long ago that the
James Harden.
It wasn't that long ago that the Embiid New York Knicks rumors were there because his agent was Leon Rose, right back in the day. Wasn't that the connection or something like that?
Yeah, he was at his wedding.
But honestly, that was also 2 years ago and 2 knee surgeries ago.
Wow, it's so long
20
ago.
pounds ago.
2 years ago.
In Embiid's world, that's like a lifetime.
He's had like 5 surgeries since then.
I mean,
2 years in Embiid years is about 20.
This season could not have worked out any better, possibly. This is all
possibly.
great.
But how much money do you still owe him?
A lot.
A ton, but who cares?
It's infinite.
We have cost certainty for how many years with Cooper Flagg?
I want you to keep saying you're going to have Cooper Flagg because it's not going to happen and it's going to be glorious.
Well, I think it's going to fall.
They have as good a chance
6.
as anyone else. I think with the new.
Well, that's technically not true.
Wow, they're right. I mean, the new odds are so flat. I look at it every day.
It just really annoys me.
Tankathon it.
Take away just the Sixers part of this, but obviously so many teams are tanking for Cooper Flagg, and they're doing it in these really obvious ways, like the Jazz and the Raptors are just like sitting guys in second halves. The moment the game becomes close, all of a sudden all the guys are sitting. It's like it's so blatant. I feel like no one deserves them.
But I don't know why they would do that because their odds are stuck, basically, for all intents and purposes. They're all going to be 14%, and the Sixers are going to be either 10 or 12%. It's possible. It's not the new lottery. Trust me, I hit this thing every day.
I'm well aware of the danger of you getting Cooper Flagg and how awful you will be after that moment. So we are well aware of the chances.
I'll take the Rutgers kids too. Throw them anything. This is exciting.
What are their names?
Well, Dylan Harper and why am I forgetting the other kid's name?
It doesn't matter.
Tall, skinny guy wears a undershirt.
I'll take it.
Ace Harper.
Ace Bailey. Yeah, Ace Bailey.
But
right.
more importantly, how many tournament games did they play?
Well, I was just saying, the reason I don't remember because I have not seen Ace Bailey play in 2.5 months.
And you forgot all those primetime games that Rutgers was getting. Probably as many as Fordham.
Dylan Harper, that would be pretty nice. Good. You have to admit, the Sixers, it'll annoy Maggie so much if they trip into a high pick. I just love that part about it too.
You get Ace of New Wall, you will like it.
It's just like the tanking part is just starting to annoy me a little bit because of the lengths that teams are going to pull off this ridiculousness. You know, it just doesn't feel like you should be rewarded for it. But you guys know, I think the NBA lottery is rigged anyway. So does LeBron, by the way.
I think you are underestimating how bad every single NBA game is right now. It's not just these teams are tanking. Try watching the Suns. I'm telling you, all these teams are bad.
I would never do that.
Nobody's playing anywhere. The season is 15 games too long, and everyone knows it. It doesn't matter if you're the lottery or not. You're sitting everybody.
No, but I think what Maggie's point is, and I think the Jazz started this, they play their good players against the good teams because they know they're going to lose anyway, and then they rest their good guys against other bad teams, so they're even worse in those moments to try to lose those games too.
Like, imagine if you just put this much thought and innovation into actually trying to win what you might accomplish. Instead, it's like putting all this thought and innovation into trying to lose. And listen, I understand why it exists, and Cooper Flag is worth it, but just a big ick factor.
Greatest sports innovation, tanking.
That's why in my world, if I was commissioner, I would make the in-season tournament. You get a additional lottery pick. You got to put some stakes on there. Make these teams actually want to win.
But the players might not want more lottery picks because that's more guys who come in and compete for their jobs.
Yeah. All right, then send those guys out of there. This is the NBA. You can trade a guy. You know, cutting guys are hard, but guys get moved around all the time. You don't want to play. All right. How does Utah sound?
Look at Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I mean, Utah is having a bit of a renaissance, though, right? Because that guy got the All-Star game there. They're getting the big high school star next year.
But living in Utah for those NBA players is not. That's what I mean. Not the team.
Because of the nightlife.
But the Jazz they've clinched it. They're getting the top odds. They're in that mix. So good for them.
Congrats.
What else you got, folks?
It might be time, guys, to get Wayne Gretzky on a plane.
Ovechkin to the high slot as Chikrin feeds it to him. He scores! Alex Ovechkin gets goal 892. It's on the power play. Top right corner against Frederick Anderson. Ladies and gentlemen, he is 3 goals away from the record.
John Walton, Caps Radio, as he just said, Ovi needs 3 goals to match Wayne Gretzky's all-time mark. Washington did lose last night, 5-1 to Carolina. The Canes clinching their playoff spot with that victory.
Wait a minute. Do you guys know the update?
I don't, actually.
Would you like the update?
Of course.
Okay, so this has been a big thing about whether or not Gretzky's going to show up to watch Ovechkin break the record, and also, would he follow him around? Because we never know exactly when this stuff is going to happen. I was wrong. Apparently, Wayne Gretzky, the commissioner, friends and family, former teammates, everyone is showing up to the game against the Blackhawks on Friday because Ovi had a hat trick the last time he played against Chicago. According to Emily Kaplan on ESPN, who said this yesterday, they're going to do video tribute. They're going to stop the game for 10 to 15 minutes. Gretzky's going to be a huge part of this. You guys were right. He's going to be in the building when this happens. I thought he'd be on a golf course somewhere sending in a video from a camera phone or something. It's totally opposite. Gretzky's going to be there to do the handoff, and you guys were right and I was wrong. I'll raise my hand on that one.
Well, so Friday's the Blackhawks. Then he comes to the island on Sunday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's part of the traveling.
I have a friend who's been inviting me to Islanders games all year long. I might have to jump on that bandwagon.
Who, Bogusch?
You have a second Dr. Rock?
No, I have one friend who works for the team, and then I have another friend who runs the luxury box. But I remember when I got here, I begged everyone to come to an Islanders game with me, and I got nothing out of anyone.
Do you think you can call that friend after not asking them for tickets all season?
Oh, they were upset with me. She's like, bring all your coworkers. Then I got a complete Heisman from every single person.
There's all Rangers fans here, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go with you.
Now, yeah, okay.
Let's see history. Okay, coming up, Wow, something we did not think about when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, well, this flirtation between Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers is bordering on like terrible rom-com territory. There is maybe part of a potential pair-up that we're not talking enough about. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Yeah, he's throwing a DK Metcalf at UCLA. The owner, Art Rooney, is saying this looks very promising. It's like everything's done basically except for signing on the dotted line.
So like a Hallmark movie or a Netflix movie, a 9-time MVP Aaron Rodgers, quarterback.
Yeah, the 9-time MVP is what they said.
What's cringy about this? This seems...
Just
so
kiss
the guy
already.
wants
It's getting weird.
It's not that weird. It's April 3rd. It hasn't been that long. I mean, we're acting like... Doesn't Aaron Rodgers deserve to take time to make this decision?
Yeah, but I think that what's weird and cringy about it to me is I think we all believe the decision's made, and he's either holding out because they want to do some big reveal on a Pat McAfee live show, or that Mercury's still in retrograde. Like, I don't think any of the reasons really pass the test. Like, I don't think Rodgers is still mulling it. I think he has made his decision, and now it's just they're trying to manipulate the timing of this for maximum, I don't know, exposure.
Yeah.
Like, it's as good as I got. But anyway.
I mean, Rodgers is a guy who's taken a long time on other decisions. I'm not so sure that it's any of those reasons. Maybe he doesn't want to go to Pittsburgh.
But he went there and he had the big tour and they said it went great. And there's, what Tomlin say? There's no substitute for intimacy. Like, they're all doing the thing.
But doesn't it feel a bit begrudging that Rodgers is
no, this is the best situation he could walk into.
Yeah, but I don't think it's not. Minnesota would have been the best. I think he's looking at it, wondering about his stats and am I going to be able to get a lot of yards and touchdowns here? And I don't think you can.
Well, I mean, then don't throw to DK Metcalf at UCLA. Then stop teasing people because you also know what you're doing here, right? Like, at some point, I think you've got to.
He's supposed to manage this for us. Like, it's his life decision. I mean, I'd say if you had a choice between a couple jobs and you had to do it in public, he could do whatever he wants.
Why do you think the owner came out and said it looks promising then?
I mean, it looks promising. He's just sort of sitting there. But I don't know, how can you blame anybody for this? It's not that long either.
Okay, well then I would question this. If the parameters of the contract are done, which was the report. He went in the building and met with everybody. They want it to happen. He seems comfortable with the money, throwing to their wide receiver that they just traded for. And if you still don't know, if he still is either contemplating retirement or holding out this pipe dream for the Vikings, well then, like, maybe I don't want you, right? Like, that would cause me to have a little bit of cold feet maybe from the Steelers side of it. But that's not really the point I was trying to bring up. The point I was trying to bring up is something we're maybe not talking enough about. And this comes from Mike Sando, who wrote a column for The Athletic that polled all anonymous GMs and people in the NFL asking about every team's offseason. And here's what he got about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's the quote. Rodgers with Pickens and DK, if it's not Hard Knocks, it better be, an exec said. I can't think of a worse combination for all this to play out. He continues, in what world do you look at DK and go, let's give that guy $30 million a year and trade a 2 for him? That struck me as you are in on Brandon Ayuk. You've been in on all these guys. You've not gotten them, and you finally found one. Maybe Tomlin brings out the best in him. I can see elements of why they like it. Pairing him with Rodgers seems odd. More. Anytime Pittsburgh brings in a receiver, I'm tending to say, okay, they've gotten it right more times than not, so they probably know something I do not know, another exec said. But I question the mix. Are we seeing the first signs of Pittsburgh panic? Okay, so are we not paying enough attention to what kind of a personality mix this would be between George Pickens, DK Metcalf, and Aaron Rodgers? Add in Arthur Smith, their offensive coordinator, is kind of a hothead. Mike Tomlin is obviously very strong, stable. Are we not paying enough attention to just how combustible this could possibly be?
Maybe. I mean, that's a good point, though. The Steelers have a history of crazy receivers. Tomlin is the king of converting character issue receivers, and that's what George Pickens. I mean, you watch George Pickens play. Tell me why he's a second-round pick.
Yeah, because he's obviously he's
a
inconsistent
yeah.
in terms of his approach.
Yeah, and I mean, football character-wise, it doesn't seem like NFL teams knew, oh, this guy's a hothead or whatever. Or he wants a lot of targets. Yeah, so if they could do Santonio Holmes and they can do Antonio Brown and they can do Martavis Bryant and they can do all these guys, they can figure out DK Metcalf. I think that's what Tomlin's thinking. And yeah, I don't love it either. I think the football part is really dicey as well. It does not seem like a cohesive offense. Feels like you're bringing, as that report said, different pieces out of nowhere that why would they fit together? DK is who's the best receiver we've seen with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Yeah. DK seems like quite a different game than Devontae Adams. DK is a super amazing deep threat, not really a possession receiver so far.
Pickens could be a good deep threat. He's great on the sidelines.
No, I'd say DK and Pickens are the same guy.
Oh.
Right. Who is his I need 11 yards on third down guy? It doesn't seem like either of those guys fit that mold. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Freiermuth, but
Yeah, but Rodgers not always a huge tight end guy. Does he bring? I was wondering. He's definitely going to try and bring his guys there too.
Who's left?
Well, Lazard, I don't think is on the team, is he?
Well, he might be because he's washed.
Oh, he's definitely washed. But
that's still on the Jets.
And Devontae's on the Rams now.
Oh, is Lazard still on the Jets?
Yeah, they may restructure him. It's still up in the air.
I mean, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
Well, I think that there's actually an NFL bylaw. They have to gift Alan Lazard to wherever Rodgers goes.
It's in the NFL charter.
Yeah, but anyway, to circle back, it seems pretty combustible, Maggie, to answer your question. Like, is this going to work? And if it doesn't work, what are people going to say?
Well, I think that we've been all focused. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are we not paying enough attention to just the personalities and how this would actually all work? We're focused on the football side because that's our job. But, even football-wise, is this a little bit of an odd fit? I thought it actually would be fine. Rodgers can still get the ball to guys, right? He can. And not enough, obviously, to Garrett Wilson last year for anyone's liking. But still, he can get the ball to guys when he needs to. They want to rely on the run game because it is Pittsburgh, and you're playing in that division. But I think football-wise, this could absolutely work. As far as personalities, I don't, that's on Tomlin, right? And it's on Rodgers because they're going to be the two guys who Tomlin sets the tone and Rodgers is the elder statesman. So he's the one who's got to be the adult. And you got to hope that his, words carry a lot of weight in the locker room. And I think they still do.
So you think it could work?
I do. I'm not going to rush to say, listen, George Pickens may never be happy. But he also has had a lot of guys throwing to him that it hasn't been totally awesome all the time. So let's give him a shot, right?
And to be honest, the offense, it's not just the quarterbacks, it's the coordinator. I saw a tweet that killed me yesterday.
What's that?
It was a picture of Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to DK Metcalf, and the person said, oh, Rodgers must have audibled because Arthur Smith definitely called a pitch run on that play.
Yeah, listen, that's if you just have to accept that's how they want to do things.
Well, I mean, the talking about combustible, Arthur Smith he was on a team that had Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and I think he might not have had Bijan, but he never threw the ball to his top targets. That is another major issue. Someone's got to sit him down and say, you better feed DK Metcalf. Because if he does not get targets, he is going to be furious. And same with Pickens.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Like, do you think that this could be a combustible situation with Rodgers, Pickens, DK Metcalf? Here's the other thing, too. Like, there were combustible moments with the Jets because the Jets also contributed to that. You have a report that comes out that the owner's kids are deciding, are at least having input on trades because of Madden ratings. That is laughable. And Aaron Rodgers said something and laughed about it. And that's probably why he's not with the Jets anymore for a few different reasons. They fired the head coach in season. They fired the general manager in season. Like, I know Rodgers brings a lot of this stuff upon himself, so you don't feel bad for him. But the Jets also did their part. EJ, I think even you as a diehard Jets fan, you can't pin it all on Rodgers because the Jets themselves are not exactly, the class organization here, EJ.
No.
Not paying attention.
Well, wait, let me ask you a question. I'm sort of missing something. What was the Rodgers drama? I know that Garrett Wilson was upset, but generally when they cut him, I saw all these players come out and say, "Oh man, we're going to miss that guy." Maybe they were just being nice, but it wasn't. Was it crazy combustible? It was crazy combustible because they kept losing games. Was it a very fractured locker room? That I kind of don't remember exactly how that went
before
down.
training camp, there was a reporting that the place was a mess and that
leaks and things like that.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even just leaks. The leaks were the reason why we knew it was a mess, but it was this idea that they were not a together unit. And Rodgers came out and said, "Oh, this is BS. People are spreading lies." We'll never know if they're lies or not, but I watched them play. They won 5 games. They did not look like a united unit when they played.
But when he left, it did seem like a lot of people said, yeah, he was pretty cool. I heard a lot of that. A lot of guys were like,
not Wilson. Not Garrett Wilson.
Not Garrett Wilson, important person.
Okay.
Right. But the rest of all the veterans, maybe it's an age thing too. Maybe there was divisions between the old guys seemed to like Rodgers.
Quinton Williams was the one who came out and said he was, that it was a mistake to let him go, basically. And then he had to retract it.
But by the way, what the kids doing the Madden rating, that's probably the best strategy the Jets got right now.
Well, I guess this is what I'm saying. We're talking about, could this be a combustible situation between Rodgers, George Pickens, DK Metcalf, Arthur Smith? Are we not talking enough about the personality in the building? What I was saying is that the Jets also contributed to this. It was Rodgers, and he says kooky things, and we started off the season with will he not run for vice president, which is just a distraction that is completely unnecessary that Rodgers brought upon himself. But at the same time, the Jets always find the rake. They will always find the banana peel.
Yeah, that's fair. But at the same time, if you listen to, we've had Ty Dunn in the show, you listen to the Packers people, they also will tell you in that last year, those issues they had were Rodgers. And that's an organization that is not like the Jets. They do not find the rake. They are a very well-run organization. And he said that guy was a problem. He was not locked in. And we had to move on because we didn't think that we were going to get the best out of him anymore. So it's
but
not
that was tons of baggage, though, that I think that had built up through the years with Rodgers and Mark Murphy and Gutekunst.
I mean, forget about baggage with the Packers. Rodgers' baggage as a person. I mean,
fair.
It's as big as
he's going to the jungle in Costa Rica to try to unpack some of that stuff.
Exactly. I mean, he's a complicated person. We know that. So, like, I think
had a couple really interesting nights
so much of that
on the medicine.
It may be unfair to put so much of that on the Jets because he had issues in Green Bay.
Well, I mean, his bottom line, dude was limping around the field for the first half of the season. If he was healthy, I don't even know if he would have seen the issues as much.
But can he get healthy is the question.
Yeah, I know he's old, and can he get healthy?
Right.
But I kind of disagree. I think that report is accurate. If, say, he gets kind of hurt again, and he can't get the ball to those two receivers, DK pouts a lot. You see him on the sideline at Seattle, like he does not look happy. Yeah, it could be a mess, and I really don't trust that offensive coordinator. Yeah. Why would we trust him? We've seen him call plays now for almost a decade.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We throw this up on a poll. Rodgers, DK, George Pickens, like too combustible? Question mark or something like that, because we're talking about the football side. Are we not talking enough about the personalities? All right, Manny, let's get to it. Let's update the movie sequel bracket. Thinking about putting this song on my workout mix. Like around minute 25 when you really need something. Okay. Well, looky what we have here. Chalk, and more chalk. It's like the NCAA tournament. Let's get to the results. In the Gotham region, Perloff, the number 1 seed and the number 1 overall seed in the Maggie Perloff movie sequel brackets is The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight marches to the Final Four.
I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever. Then why do you want to kill me? I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No. No, you complete me.
Send up to Jerry Maguire there. The Dark Knight trounced Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So, Perloff, a movie you said is not really that great.
Nah.
You didn't love Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. Well, they're out.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana Jones 1 and Indiana Jones 3 are awesome. But 2 wasn't my movie. Dark Knight seems like a juggernaut. They're like UConn in 2023 and 24.
Well, not so fast, because as we go to the Corleone, Sicily region, we get another number 1 seed that is on to the Final Four, and that would be The Godfather Part 2.
So let's just say that you'll pay me because it's in your interest to pay me. But I want your answer and the money by noon tomorrow. And one more thing. Don't you contact me again, ever. From now on, you deal with Turnbull. Open that door, son.
Senator, you can have my answer now if you like. My offer is this. Nothing. Not even the fee for the gaming license, which I would appreciate if you would put up personally.
Godfather 2 is so good. Do you know what happens to the senator? Do you guys have any idea what happens in that part?
Never seen the movie.
I'm guessing he gets caught.
No.
Well, yes, but he ends up, can we say it? Spoil it. This movie came out in 1975. The senator ends up getting caught with this woman that they were in bed together, and he, air quotes, accidentally killed her. And then Michael and the mob have to go in and clean it all up. And then he's indebted to them forever.
I assume that happens to about 26% of senators. That's like a story as old as time.
Dead hooker? I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, a senator? Oh, my gosh. I mean, that's when America was great. You could cover up crimes of politicians.
Oh my
now
gosh.
too much comes out.
It's such a jarring scene, too, because you only see it in the reflection of a mirror.
I love that actor.
You see her all bloody in the bed. It's crazy. And he's there sweating. Anyway.
Here's my final offer. You will gift me the gaming license. Oh, Michael's.
My final offer.
He's a bad man.
Nothing. There you go. So the 2 number 1 seeds. And again, highly recommend if you haven't seen Godfather 2. It's a really good movie.
So these teams face each other, right? The Dark Knight. It's one of those Final Fours where you might have what should be the final in the Final Four.
Yep. No, definitely. And later on, we will get you the Hoth region and the LA region with more heavy hitters. Hoth.
Yes.
Every time you say that, I just giggle a little bit.
I know, because I'm like not confident.
Yeah. Well, also too, it's like a very serious show. Okay, we're going to talk about this major sports story. Then we're going to get to the Hoth region, this fake snow planet in the second Star Wars movie.
Oh, it's the snow planet. That's what it is.
It's the one where the Tauntaun and.
It's the one that Spider-Man talks about in Civil War. And he's like, remember that old movie where they got the robots?
Yes.
Tony Stark's like, you mean Star Wars?
That's the place with the Ice Walkers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Surely these are all references I'm getting. We will do more movie sequels. I can't believe we're basically here at the Final Four.
Let's break down the matchup. Dark Knight, Godfather 2. Who you got?
I mean, Dark Knight has just been trouncing everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a little recency bias because Dark Knight is a more modern movie, gives it the edge. If I had to bet on DraftKings, I don't think has odds on this. I would probably go Dark Knight.
You need to get in contact with the DraftKings, get some odds.
Yeah. No, you got to go to one of those mysterious offshore books.
Offshore, out of the solar system, I think, is the only place you could bet on this.
I would think, I'll tell you, I'm going to make an argument for Godfather Part 2. It's called Godfather Part 2. The Dark Knight is one of 9 Batman movies. I think in the spirit of sequels, it's got to be called Part 2. I've been sticking to that argument.
I know, but that ship sailed 4 rounds ago.
This
is where we are now.
If it was called Batman 2, The Dark Knight, then I would be more into it. But the fact that
man,
I just don't like that there were 7 Spider-Mans and 4 Batmans in this region.
Take it up with Hollywood. You know, we're just trying to find the best movie sequel.
That's my issue. Like, come up with some new plot lines. Do we need to keep rehashing? Did they really need 3 Spider-Man series in the last 14 years?
I could also argue that there are a million mob movies, and if you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Yeah. I mean, The Godfather's kind of the Godfather, no pun intended, of that genre.
Right.
Sure.
Wait. Oh, no. I can't agree with this.
This is something that will never get resolved on the show.
But they're not literally called the same movie.
The fact that EJ doesn't like mob movies and Perloff cannot understand it.
You don't think there's too many Spider-Man movies?
Of course he doesn't. He loves them.
No. I mean, I think there was 2 that they should not have made.
The Andrew Garfield series,
yeah, those weren't good.
Yeah, but they also shouldn't have made Godfather 3, and they did it. So you can say that either way.
Maggie, you have no idea how many times they are trotting these same superheroes. Batman, they're going to milk that. They just can't come up with a new plot, so they keep just redoing the same dudes over and over again.
I know. I'm a conscientious objector to some of these superhero movies.
You see the last The last Ant-Man was the worst movie I've ever seen. EJ and I disagree. Like, they are killing these series.
This is why Rush Hour should have made it this far.
Manny's love of Chris Tucker and
Jackie Chan.
And Jackie Chan is undefeated.
He's not wrong.
No, they were a great duo. 888-710-4ISN. So there's a little update for you on the Maggie Perloff movie sequel bracket. We get back to football in just a moment, and we've got a question for you because somebody resurfaced who we haven't seen in a little bit. We're going to tell you what happened, why it may matter, next. M&P.
What? You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Hyundai. The Hyundai Getaway Sales event is going on now. Get deals so right, it almost feels wrong. But don't wait. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. All right, we are getting down to the nitty-gritty of the sequel bracket, trying to figure out the best movie sequel of all time. It's a little like the typical NCAA women's bracket, which usually has like a South Carolina and a UConn. A lot of times chalk gets advanced to that particular tournament. We have a lot of chalk, Mag.
We've got chalk in the men's tournament with all 4 number 1 seeds. And we got chalk in the movie sequel bracket with both The Dark Knight and Godfather 2 marching on to the Final Four. James is in LA, wants to talk about it. James, if it's Dark Knight or Godfather 2, who's going to win?
I love Godfather 2, but first I want to apologize to you guys, man. Perloff said that you got in trouble for, mentioning the Freddie thing about Freddie getting killed. And that was my idea. And so, he took it and ran with it.
Yes.
And so I apologize. I didn't know you guys were going to get in trouble for it. The movie's 50 years old, for Christ's sake.
That's what about Fredo getting killed. For a second you said Freddie, and I was like, Freeman? I didn't know where you guys were going.
You could call him Freddie, yeah.
Freddie, Fredo.
Yeah.
It's his friends call him.
Yeah, we were saying, was it the right thing? How did that poll do, by the way?
Oh, I got to go back and find that out. Yeah, Maggie, this is all James' fault that I got yelled at by Andy Staples for giving me
Okay, this happened when I was deathly sick last week. I got a stomach bug out of nowhere, and you guys, I guess, spoiler alert, told everybody that Fredo dies. Michael kills Fredo.
Right. Well, it was more or less did Michael do the right thing?
Right.
What would you do that?
Did Fredo deserve to die?
James, what was your answer? Would you have, if you were Michael, would you have killed Fredo?
I would have been like Sonny. I probably would have sent him somewhere and just had him, be in charge of something small,
Yeah.
Well,
some nightclub, Mickey Mouse nightclubs. What did he say? And picking people up from the airport.
Exactly.
I think James is onto something. Do you have to kill Fredo? I mean, he sold him out to Mo Green. Let's not get it twisted. He did put, he went against the family, but
he told him once, don't ever do it again, and he did it.
He did it again, and Mo Green got popped too. But here's the thing: he is family. Fredo's the oldest. You just cut him out.
No, that's why.
Yeah,
that's why
everyone's
James.
Watching you. Yeah, everyone's watching Michael. Your underlings are watching you.
Yeah, that's why we're not the Godfather. You guys just summed it up. That's why James, you're not the head of a family. That's why Maggie's not the head of a family, and I'm not. We're just too emotional. We would never.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, I love the fact that Perloff, you mentioned Casablanca because Godfather, the first Godfather in Casablanca, I got 118 for GOAT. All-time movies, but we could do that another day.
Yeah. Awesome. Maybe this summer we'll do that, James. I love it.
Yeah, everyone's looking for a robust Casablanca talk. No, James, you're the best. Thank you so much. I do have the updated poll for you. I found it from last week. Should Michael have killed Fredo in The Godfather Part 2? 69% of the audience said yes.
Yeah, Fredo had to go.
Is that how you do it on the boat?
Yeah, it's pretty cinematic.
At night, at twilight?
Yeah. Going fishing.
Why did Fredo get on that boat?
What choice did he have?
Yeah, fair.
He couldn't run anywhere. He was on a random cabin on Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, the family compound.
Yeah, it was tough. Poor Fredo.
We're talking about something that happened in a movie in the 1970s. Brad is in Oregon with something a little more contemporary. You want to talk about NBA tanking? What's up, Brad?
Yeah, last couple of weeks, guys, everybody's been talking about these teams, tanking on purpose and stuff, and the NBA doesn't know what to do about it. I haven't heard this solution come up yet. Reward the team that just missed making the playoffs. Give them more ping pong balls. They play hard all year. They just missed making the playoffs. If they did get in the playoffs, they rewarded their fans with a couple extra playoff games at home. But the team that just missed, that played hard, reward them instead of the teams that are obviously tanking.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like that would be a pretty good fit.
I'm wrapping my head around this. I don't hate it. The only thing is I think sometimes teams are so bad, you can't tell the teams that are just out of the play-in tournament and the ones that are actually tanking. Like, if we were going to take that, for example, this year, the Toronto Raptors are just out of the playoff, just out of the play-in tournament, and they are one of those teams that is trying to tank.
The East is
They just keep going up against other teams that are trying harder. I mean, they're trying very hard. The Raptors are trying very hard to tank. They keep taking guys out in close games. They're doing all the things we hate. But I don't hate it, Brad.
If they're rewarded with making the play, they wouldn't be taking their players out to tank. They'd be trying to make that last spot in the playoffs to get into the playoffs. And if they fell short, they'd be rewarded with more ping pong balls to get the number 1 draft overall.
What about the teams in the play-in, like the 7, 8, 9, 10 teams? Would they get more ping pong balls? Maybe that.
Yeah,
works?
if they're still trying to get in, they're still trying to make the playoffs, and they're trying to in the play-in games. I would think that would be an incentive for the teams to play hard all year long. We just fell short, but we're going to be rewarded by playing hard all year and have a better shot at the number 1 draft pick.
Brad, it's not a terrible idea. Thank you so much for calling in with it. And you get weighted on more ping pong balls. You like that, Pearl?
Yeah, I do think that. And in all reality, I think they should consider a tweak because the end of the season is getting uglier and uglier. I have a question. And I'm just looking at the Tankathon. Mm-hmm. So if nowadays, if you lose in the play-in, you're right, you do get a lottery ball, right?
Because you're going to be right there.
1, 2, 3.
14 is the end of the lottery.
Right, and only 10 teams don't make the playoffs. So is that right? So the teams you can get into the play-in and still be in the lottery. Huh. According to because I keep hitting this sim lottery on Tankathon, you hit a button and you see where your team ends up.
Where's the Sixers there?
We're at number 7.
That means you lose the pick.
Yeah, which means OKC. That's the other thing, too.
Thank you, Al Horford.
There's so many weird picks.
Chump Nick fans over here.
No.
You guys are cackling like Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
You lost again to a good team last night. Take today off with your Sixers angst. Beat somebody that's worth beating.
And by the way, I don't want the number 9 pick. That's going to overpay for some scrub. So I'd rather give that to OKC.
Meanwhile, Perloff's prediction that happened a couple years ago has turned out to be, you had 2 predictions on guys who you said were definitely going to the Hall of Fame that I wasn't sure at the time, that I think you're absolutely right. First,
I know
you
one.
said Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
And I pushed back on that, but I think he's probably getting in. The other you said was Al Horford.
I did?
You said that before the Celtics lost to the Warriors.
Well,
now he's definitely, I think he would be definitely in after they won.
Yeah, I mean, he also won college titles, right? And NBA considers both, right?
Yes.
Yes,
and
basketball, it's all everything.
I didn't think Carmelo's getting in.
Well, I was going to say, I didn't want to say the first ballot, Carmelo. I think Carmelo probably would have made it as an NBA guy, too. NBA is pretty liberal on their Hall of Fame. So, yeah, Horford now seems like a no-brainer. I can't believe Horford's still kicking around doing his thing. You know he's going to hit a big three-pointer in this playoffs.
Without a doubt. Corner 3, Al Horford. It's like clockwork.
Not going to be in like a game 6 or a 7 to clinch it, but it'll be like in a game 4.
Totally.
Yeah, it's done.
Like, oh, man, this really changed the series. That kind of shot.
Yeah, and then he'll miss like 7 other ones, but you'll only remember the one he made.
Andrew Bogusch is here with
Sounds
headlines
like
for
with
us.
The Sixers.
What's up?
Guys, we are a week into the baseball season, and the Atlanta Braves still haven't won a game.
Shohei Ohtani on his bobblehead night.
Ooh.
First pitch swinging, high drive, left center field, at the wall. Oh, my goodness! Shohei Ohtani, a sayonara swing!
That's Steven Nelson on Dodgers radio. Ohtani, a walk-off solo homer, bottom 9 for a 6-5 win. And yes, he did that on his bobblehead night. Fans waiting hours pregame, snarling traffic for that bobblehead. The Dodgers are now 8-0, the best start ever by the World Series champ. But back to those winless Braves. Here's their manager, Brian Snitker.
I don't wish this on anybody. honestly. In a competitive arena, and what we're going through is tough. Very tough.
Yeah, the rest of America wishes it on you. This is their worst start since 0-9 in 2016.
Rest in peace to all my ops.
Well, here's the thing. They're not out of it yet. I've got a list here.
It's only April 3rd.
I know. Well, you guys are trying to bury the Braves like they're not going to be Freddy Krueger or something.
I have
back.
the same list. They are out of it.
Well, okay, maybe you and I are looking at different lists because I'm looking at the slowest starts in the history of Major League Baseball who still made the playoffs.
Right, and there's never been a team this bad, right?
Right, but you got to go through the first 25 games, don't you? You can't just go through the first 10.
So no one at 0-7 has ever made it. There's been a few 0-6s.
I didn't see that part of this.
The Mets were 0-5 last year.
They're
Yeah,
four,
they made the
0-5. They're the
NLCS.
fourth worst. There's I think 4 teams with 0-6, 1 0-5. 0-7's never happened according to a story I found and have since clicked off to look for Dark Knight facts.
Sixers stink, the Braves stink. This is like, oh man, this is heaven.
Yeah, I know. Maggie's nervous. Like they're Terminator 2.
Come on. You
The
guys
liquid
think
Terminator.
the Braves are out of this? Like, they're never out.
I mean, I'd play the other 155 games they have left. I don't think they should go home.
April 3rd.
But yeah,
Thank you.
let us enjoy this. They're 0-7.
Yeah, I mean, it stinks for them. They start off the season against the Braves and the Padres, the two teams that haven't lost a game.
There's also that.
And half their rosters injured.
And by the way, it's the Dodgers going to be the best team ever. I mean, are we?
Yes.
Okay, can you finally agree to hate them now?
No, I don't hate them at all.
They're going to go 164-0, and you're going to like it.
I do not hate. For some reason, I hate the Braves.
But did
I
you
do
hate
not
the
hate them.
Yankees when they did this and
Nope.
they bought everything?
Oh, I did.
No, see, I
It's
grew
not
up.
that fun.
I grew up without interleague play, so the American League was not. I wasn't engaged with them. I hated the Mets. Was agnostic towards the Yankees. You know what I mean? So no, it didn't bother me. The evil empire didn't bother me that much.
I don't know. This whole like Dodgers, they're so likable. It's like, all right, yes, who hates Shohei? Like nobody,
Yes.
right?
Mookie Betts.
Well, Ipe had something to do with that. But
Mookie, you must like Mookie.
Listen, I respect the guy's a great player, but they're going to be this juggernaut of a team, and if it's going to be a fait accompli that they're going to win the World Series, that's just not that fun.
Well, I mean, the Yankees, there have been high win teams that have not won the World Series. There, tons and tons of regular season wins.
And then there's 1998 when
Yeah.
they were the best pillar to post, and it was never in doubt. And that seems like it could be what the Dodgers are.
Well,
I don't
Dodgers
know.
won 111 a couple seasons ago. This isn't even necessarily the best Dodgers lineup.
Well, they got the best. This is the best rotation they've ever had.
But yeah, and we know what happens to that. They're all going to get hurt. In fact, some of them are hurt already.
Yeah, and then guess who they have waiting in the wings? They have
Other
Clayton
guys,
Kershaw
yeah.
and Shohei Ohtani.
They did a bullpen game in the World Series last year. Come on.
Because that was last year. They had 8 guys out with elbow injuries.
Yeah, and why do we think that's not going to happen
Well, they
again?
guarded against it this
They
time.
just had a win from Dustin May the other day. You think that arm is with that funky delivery is going to last? No way. But anyway, yeah, I'm into the Dodgers. Can you appreciate greatness? I liked Chicago Bulls when Jordan was there.
Yeah, but
So
that was
why
a
can't I
salary
like
cap sport. It was different.
why can't I like the Dodgers because of Shohei? I kind of like the Giants when Barry was there.
No, you just said you root for the national. You're a National League guy.
Yeah.
You're a Philly, so you can't root for a
That's
team
an
that's
NL
in
West
the,
team.
You can
They're
root
in
for
the way of the Phillies getting to the World Series.
You can root for a player, but I'd root for the team and
So
their
the
success.
The Sixers were good with Charles Barkley, and I rooted for Michael Jordan and the Bulls.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I mean, you're talking to a Knicks fan, so I mean, I'm the bad person, but that's crazy that you're a Sixers fan. They played the Bulls in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
And
here's
you're like, oh yeah, Michael Jordan. Oh.
I know.
Yeah.
Perloff's allegiance, like non-allegiance is the bandwagoning. But here's what I think is the bigger part about this is not a feel-good story. This is not that fun because at least with Michael Jordan in a salary cap sport, everyone is playing by the same rules. Baseball is not. They are just the Dodgers, the Yankees, our Mets. They stack the deck so much towards just being a salary a salary team, And yeah, it doesn't always work, but that's not fun for the sport.
Yeah, but I'm gonna put that on ignore because Shohei is really fun to watch.
Well, on
Silence that.
Well, completely on the other side of the spectrum, I mean, the Rays is, Juan Soto is getting paid more money per year right now than the entire Ray roster. Like, if it's going, like, that's not fun either.
That's what I'm saying. I think that it's not. I think it's a problem of the sport that it's a haves and have-nots as opposed to salary cap and more even.
But that's the owner's fault.
Yes,
you just saw the A's hand out money to players. They haven't been doing that over the past 5 years.
It's not haves and have-nots. It's people that want to spend and don't want to spend.
Exactly.
The Pirates don't. The Pirates, the Marlins. It doesn't have to be like this.
I understand it, but and that's why I hate owners. And you guys are like, wow, you really hate owners. Like, yeah, I really do. You know,
and they hate you.
And I appreciate that that the team I root for is spending, but we can't say that this is awesome for the sport.
No, but I look at it differently. I think the bigger problem is the teams who are choosing not to do business.
Right.
The teams who are choosing not, and not everybody has Dodger money, but everybody has money.
Yeah, but
the
here's the
Pirates
thing.
are terrible on purpose. The Marlins are terrible on purpose. The Marlins stadium 95% empty, but also 95% full of Met fans the last 3 days, and guys who no one knew were alive until the season started as their roster. Like that is a bigger problem than the Dodgers.
I totally get it, but the only other thing about this is it feels like if you are a team like the Dodgers who has more money than anything and they can afford to spend, and yet the deferred money is still the secret sauce here. It's like, how many more advantages are the rich teams going to get? I get, take advantage of them. I understand, but it feels weird, wonky, unfair. You know, I am not going to take up for the small market owners who don't spend. I think that they choose not to. They want their margins to be bigger, all that stuff. It sucks. But I also feel like the Dodgers found this hack that they didn't deserve. Like, they don't need it, and they still are enjoying it. So maybe I'm sour grapes, but it just feels weird.
So they don't need it, but I think the last time I filled in on Bill Ryder's show, he had a baseball guest on, and I brought this up, and he told me that the Dodgers, the money that they're not paying to people now, they still need to put somewhere. So it's not like they're not spending the money. That money is sitting like an escrow somewhere and gets paid out. So where I thought they were doing this weird like accounting trick where they actually weren't paying Shohei, so they had money to give the guys now, that Shohei money is accounted for in the moment.
Right, but the value is still lower because $700 million today is not the same as $700 million in 10 years.
But I thought they were using the same dollar to pay two different people because they would have a new dollar 15 years from now for Shohei, and that is not the case.
Is it 100% that has to go in escrow?
That's the way it was presented.
I think Maggie's just mad because she wants to be the team to outspend everybody with the Mets.
Why? I'm a Mets fan.
I think that's right. Because I'm a Phillies fan, and I'm not bothered by the deferred money. I actually thought it was kind of clever.
Well, I can be a fan of a team that spends and also think that this is not great for the sport, right? Where it's just so. Or how about this? I get why people are not rooting for the Mets.
But I kind of agree with Bogusch. It's the low end owners that bother me more than the high end owners. That's a pretty good point.
That's fine. I do too, but don't ask me to say, wow, look at the Dodgers, this feel-good story. Like, you love them. I can't get there.
Yeah,
and I get why people don't like the Mets, and I get why people don't like the Yankees either.
But I do disagree. Everybody liked Michael Jordan Bulls, despite the competitiveness. I do think sometimes greatness, we all liked Barry Sanders, but I guess that team wasn't winning. I just think sometimes guys are so fascinating as athletes that we just root for them. Even if they're on rivals. Is that possible?
I mean, I'll hate the Dodgers if the Mets play them in the postseason. Right. But otherwise, I'm going to enjoy Ohtani being Ohtani and them beating somebody else in the World Series if that's what we get to.
I get it. I don't know what it is. It's just a hunch. The Dodgers are more likable than the Yankees, too. There's something... I don't know. Maybe it's the sunny weather, the celebrity fans.
Sunny weather.
They're just Rob Lowe and Jason Bateman.
Yeah, there's no celebrity fans for the New York Yankees.
I don't know. We should put that poll. Who's more likable, the Yankees or the Dodgers? Something about the Dodgers. They're just a cute little team out there in L.A.
Yeah.
They're not that.
Team.
They got Mookie. I actually...
He's a killer.
We did our will lately, and I was going to consider giving my kids to Mookie. He's the best. You ever had an in-game interview with Mookie Betts when he has the mic on? He is so likable. It's unbelievable.
Mookie Betts. I'm 5'8". I can bowl. Whatever. I'm amazing at baseball.
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
888-710-4ISN.
Guy sucks.
Do you root for the Dodgers? 888-710-4476 or the Yankees or the Mets or any of these other high payroll teams? Do you consider them good stories?
Yeah, I'm super talented. I'm Mookie Betts.
Likable. I could bowl.
I can play the outfield and shortstop.
I forgot about the bowling. I like him even more now. Jerome Bettis, you can love him because he bowls. You can't love Mookie Betts because he bowls.
It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm super talented. I'm Mookie Betts.
I can bowl.
I can play the outfield and shortstop.
I happen to know that about him, which is why I don't like him.
The bowling is the part I respect. No, just kidding. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Adrian Perloff. We're talking about whether the Dodgers are likable.
When somebody bowls, usually I was like, he bowls. He's a good guy. It's kind of implied.
Is that right?
I don't
think
like
so.
him.
I mean, I just generally, when you say someone bowls, it just seems like, salt of the earth. He's a bowler.
All right, I get that.
Yeah. Kind of like
who else you got?
70s sitcom dad. I was thinking the guys in Big Lebowski. Nice guys, except for Jesus.
The Jesus, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Do you root for the Dodgers? Like, I don't find any team that has that kind of payroll, unless you're a fan of theirs, obviously, and then you love it. But, like, who's getting behind, who's bandwagoning on the Dodgers and the ridiculous payroll?
I don't like
me.
Rich is, but you bandwagon everywhere. Rich is in California. What's up, Rich?
Well, besides the fact that I'm a Giants fan, so I am predisposed to dislike the Dodgers intently.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, instead of wondering why it is the Dodgers, whether you like the Dodgers or not, maybe somebody ought to start looking at the feudal nature of how the way baseball is even run.
Mm-hmm.
That allows a Dodger team to amass that kind of money. And don't even talk to me about the A's or Tampa Bay or anything else like that. But at some point, you got to wonder, since they're running about third in popularity, if that has something to do with the fact that a whole bunch of teams are literally out of it before opening day.
Yeah. And you're talking about the sport is running third in popularity to football and basketball, you're saying?
Yeah, and maybe they ought to take a look and see what football and basketball is doing right.
Yeah.
And one of them would be a centralized way of dealing with TV contracts. But good luck getting the Yankees or the Mets or the Giants or the Dodgers to sit there and kick in for small market teams. And I'm not even talking about Mr. Fisher.
Well, they'll tell you, Rich, I think the Yankees would say in their defense, a couple things there, and you're spot on. There's no centralized TV contracts. This is not even like college football with the conferences and stuff. And the Yankees have their own network and the Dodgers, all that stuff. But here's the thing. I think the Yankees would, in their defense, would say we already help out the small market teams. They've already changed so many of the collective bargaining rules that we do give there are so many penalties for the bigger spending teams, and they do already do crazy revenue sharing. The Yankees and Dodgers would probably say, we're not doing more. We already do so much to try to help out those lesser spending teams. I think that would be their defense. And here's the other part of it, which makes this so tricky. If you are pro-labor, right? If you want the players to really have the power here, you don't want a salary cap. Like, think about what LeBron James is actually worth. Rich, thank you for the call. Think about what Luka Doncic is actually worth.
Underpaid.
Right. So the baseball players have always traditionally had the strongest union, and they don't want any kind of cap, even a soft cap, which is a luxury tax, which actually does exist. But so it's like it hurts the sport, but you also don't want the players to have to feel the brunt of it, because having a salary cap kind of bails out the owners in a lot of ways.
So what's your solution then?
Complain about it.
There we go.
Into a microphone.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a really tough one. And I do agree there is something to the sports popularity falling to have these
problem-solving skills.
Teams mailing it in like the Pirates. It's not good.
We
the
have
parody
Skeens
of the NFL
at least now, but everyone. Aren't you just waiting for them to trade Paul Skeens? Of course you are.
The NFL, you can
Big
turn
hands.
around so fast. It is unbelievable. The NBA, I actually think it's a little harder, but the NFL, I think the parody's been a huge bonus for them. Although the Chiefs seem like they're pretty good.
Except for the Chiefs and the Patriots that whole 20 years. But I get you. Brian, quickly in California. What's up, Brian?
One thing I wanted to add to your question last night about innovative things in sports, something we're all talking about right here, free agency.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kurt Flood.
Yep.
Yeah. Kurt Flood.
How much
Reggie
that changed. We talked yesterday, what's the greatest sports innovation? We didn't think about free agency.
And Reggie would have never been a Yankee.
Yep. Brian, thank you so much for that. It was innovative. in a negotiating, bargaining kind of way.
It's one of those things where you think in your mind, oh, they would have figured it out eventually, but they had to go through a lot to get to that point.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476.
NIL would be a good one, too.
Phenomenal. Keep them coming, guys. Coming up next, whose stock is dropping in the NFL draft?
I don't like them.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
How far? Shedeur Sanders going to fall. Hello, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Pearl, we know the entire NFL world, Palm Beach, for the owners' meetings, and It's interesting the draft nuggets that come out of there. We were all kind of focused on rule changes and tush-push and all of that, but meanwhile, things not looking phenomenal for Shedeur Sanders, at least according to the number one NFL insider, Adam Schefter. Let's play a little sound, shall we? Tell you exactly what we're talking about. You've got a theory about this. We'll hold on to that for just 1 second. But here is Schefter, plugged in as anybody, on what he's hearing about the Giants and the Browns, who are picking second and third, Browns second, Giants third, and that they're possibly looking elsewhere.
And it certainly feels like the Cleveland Browns are inclined to look elsewhere aside from quarterback. And it's starting to feel like the New York Giants at number 3 are starting to look elsewhere other than quarterback.
All right, a little unnecessarily dramatic there because it looks like the connection got a little bit dicey. So you kind of really drew it out. But yes, increasingly unlikely is what Adam Schefter was saying. And, NFL world all in one place. Here's more from Schefter suggesting that Sanders really could go on a tumble here if the Browns and the Giants don't bite.
If the Browns don't take Shedeur Sanders at 2, and if the Giants don't take Shedeur Sanders at 3, and that is the feel that I'm getting recently, where is Shedeur Sanders going?
Wow.
Schefter's always like a detective, It's like we're in a police procedural.
Yeah.
It's like, who killed the wife?
That had a very Law and Order feel there.
It's almost like he's reveling a little in it, too. It's like, the body. Who put the body here? Anyway.
Where is Shedeur Sanders going?
It's almost getting towards Keith Morrison and Dateline.
Yes.
Why did she have 2 suitcases?
Yeah. Why did the husband take out a $200,000 insurance policy on her life a week before she disappeared?
Shocker.
Not that much of a brain buster.
Shocker, it was a husband.
Yeah,
but they give you enough clues to make it seem like it could have been somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, it's either the husband or the secret lover, but it's one of those 2 people.
We have to have a caveat that Schefter guaranteed in February on the same podcast. Well, I don't know if this is a podcast. On his podcast, that the Browns were taking quarterback at number 2. So things changed. And right now he says that it seems like they're moving on. He probably has a little asterisk around that. He did say at a certain point the draft changes.
Well, yeah, but here's kind of the tea leaves of the last couple of weeks. 1, the Giants signed Russell Wilson, but that's not a long-term solution by any stretch. And 2, the Browns have now been heavily linked to Kirk Cousins. Again, not a long-term solution by any stretch. So to me, this all feels like smokescreen.
But that's not a change to Kirk Cousins. That's been around all offseason.
Sure, but showing up at the Chipotle in Cleveland
and a little more
Chipotle. Smoke. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's as good as we got to go on here. It's draft season. That's like a major clue.
But I'll tell you one thing. I think also everybody's so high on Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. So those are you going to pass on those 2 potential Hall of Famers to take a good quarterback? I think that's the other thing. Hunter especially has been moving up mock drafts. Seems like there was a lot of positive buzz at the owners' meeting about him.
Sure, but that doesn't wipe away the desperation that both the Browns and the Giants have for QB. I mean, Hunter could be the best player of all time. If you don't have a quarterback, teams need to fill that position. They always say they don't reach in the draft and it's best player available, and that's true for every position except quarterback.
Yeah, but I do think it's a factor how good. If they were just 2 average players sitting there at 2 and 3, say it was a good left tackle that they didn't know about, like Olufashinu or something, I don't think this would be a discussion. I think there seemed to be a lot of buzz at the owners meeting that Travis Hunter is viewed as a generational player.
Then why aren't the Titans taking him?
Well, it's funny because the Titans in the beginning of the offseason said we will kind of hinted that we will not pass on a generational player for quarterback, but then they fell in love with Cam Ward during the process. That's what actually Schefter said, that they've really liked everything from Cam Ward.
And also, they need a quarterback. And they're all going to get fired if Will Levis leads them to another 3-win season.
Bottom line, Cam Ward's a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, but he's still not. Well, he might end up being like the best quarterback ever. We have no idea. But it's not like he's coming in with the kind of gravitas that Jaden Daniels, who had just won the Heisman, or Caleb Williams, who won the Heisman the year before, or Trevor Lawrence, who had, won a national championship, or whatever. Cam is a great story, and I think will be a good quarterback, but it's not like by far he's a slam dunk.
No. He probably wouldn't have been a top 3 pick last year.
Exactly.
But I think if just eyeballing him, he looks like a better prospect than Shedeur.
But I'm just saying it's need. Like, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. The desperation of the Titans needing a quarterback will lead them to Cam Ward at number 1 overall, even if Travis Hunter is actually the best player in the draft, or Abdul Carter. Same thing, to me, would apply for the Browns and the Giants.
I don't agree, because the Browns and the Giants would both take Cam Ward if he was there. They wouldn't, and they might take Shedeur, too. As you mentioned earlier, that's not a closed door. I don't think there's any question both those teams would take Cam Ward. I think he's a significantly better prospect.
Okay, I'm still on the belief, because I feel like I've watched it over and over again, that when you actually are desperate for a quarterback, when people's jobs are theoretically on the line, when all of that is in the stew and in the sauce, the quarterbacks get taken, right? This is how this happens. This is how the Zach Wilsons of the world get taken second overall. This is how the Trey Lances. This is just, it's the desperation that causes you to reach. And I don't know why the Browns and the Giants, 2 teams that are not run particularly well, that they would be different than anyone else.
I just think that, obviously, I think the Browns think they can get back in the first round and maybe still get Shedeur. I think that Shedeur could do an Aaron Rodgers-like fall, because after 3, if he doesn't go to the Giants, then they have an issue, because there aren't many openings.
You're right. And so if it's not Cleveland or the Giants, again, I think it's going to be. I want to be on the record on that. But yes, after that, New England filled, Jacksonville filled. Las Vegas, to me, is still up in the air. I know that Geno is the big trade. They still haven't gotten a contract done with him. And I think Tom Brady could play some hardball here with Geno Smith, and leave Pete Carroll to have to smooth it over.
I think the Raiders desperately need a skill player. I personally think it's going to be Gentry there. Ashton Gentry, the Boise State running back. They can't afford to waste a pick on a quarterback.
888-710-4ISN. The Jets are after that. Are we sure he's not getting past the Jets?
Schefter addressed that too. He said the Jets and Shedeur have had zero buzz, because they spent on Justin Fields $20 million. Not the end of the world. For some reason, Shedeur, Dion, the Jets, coming off Aaron Rodgers, that doesn't sound right. No particular reason.
Very few Jets draft picks really sound right.
Yeah. I don't know why. Have you ever heard anyone link Shedeur to the Jets? It would make sense, but no one ever talks about that.
Well, it's funny because Dion said, again, at this random conference in Chicago about supply chains, nothing about sports, said, we love New York, and didn't exactly say Jets or Giants. You said, could it be the Jets? We all kind of think it's Giants.
Everybody, yeah, exactly. I think the entire media world said Giants. And then the Saints at 9 have Derek Carr sitting there, too. They might not jump on Shedeur.
They'd be lucky to find Shedeur.
Oh, the Saints, I don't know. They have so many needs. If they bring in Shedeur, there's no team around him. What are you doing? They are not quite ready for their quarterback.
I think that they would definitely scoop him up, unless they're trying to do some long play for hometown hero Arch Manning, which again is that's dicey. 888-710-4ISN. Yes.
I think the Saints, because if Carr is their week 1 quarterback, if they get another lineman, I think that with Kellen Moore, I think they can compete for that division, because the division's so bad. I don't think they think they're that far. They're kind of an old team, too. Cam Jordan's still there.
Yeah, that's nuts. Okay, so you're welcome to weigh in on Shedeur Sanders. Do you believe that Cleveland and the Giants are really looking elsewhere now, or do you believe he's going to go top 3? Let us know. Meanwhile, let's get to some movie sequels. All right, if you missed it last hour, half of the final 4 in the Maggie Perloff movie sequel bracket is set. Congratulations to the number 1 seeds, The Dark Knight and The Godfather 2, who have marched on to the Maggie Perloff movie sequel bracket final 4. You ready to get into the next?
Let's do it.
Set of matchups here. Here we go. Hoth region. Number 1 seed in this region is Star Wars Empire Strikes Back.
There will be a substantial reward for the one who finds the Millennium Falcon. You are free to use any methods necessary, but I want them alive. No disintegrations.
As you wish. Lord Vader. My lord, we have them.
Oh, so good.
Is that Boba Fett with the line there? Is that a Boba Fett line? There we go.
The Star Wars Empire Strikes Back as the 1 seed faces off against the 3 seed in this region, Batman Returns.
Handsome, dazed, and to die for.
Mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it.
But a kiss can be even deadlier if you mean it. You're the second man who killed me this week.
Michelle Pfeiffer is so good in this movie. It's a memorable line.
That sounded a little cheesy listening back, but
It's
yeah.
a Batman movie.
Yeah.
It's got to have a little cheese.
Yeah, the most recent. Then they got really dark with it. How many Catwomen are there? 3. Anne Hathaway plays her. And who's the new
Halle
Catwoman?
Berry.
What's her name?
Halle Berry played her too. Don't forget
Halle Berry. There's a
And
new
Zoe
one
Kravitz.
too.
Zoe Kravitz.
Oh yeah, Zoe Kravitz.
All right.
Yeah,
I like all
Michelle-
these actresses.
But Michelle Pfeiffer, for you youngins, that was a big deal back
Oh,
in
is
the
that
day.
right?
That was a big deal. That was a number 1 seed.
Okay,
A
understood.
little sexual awakening.
Yeah. Technically a 3
Not
seed in
my
this
type.
tournament.
She wasn't my type, but she was
Not
so
into
pretty.
felines?
No, she was so pretty though. Like she was pretty good. Anyway.
Yeah, she was. This was a smoking hot era for Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
But to be fair, she's kind of been smoking hot this whole time. Okay, so you can go vote now. Number 1 seed Star Wars versus the 3 seed Batman, and now let's get to the LA region. It's the number 1 seed Terminator 2.
The delusional architecture is fairly unique. She believes that a machine called a Terminator, which looks human, of course, was sent back through time to kill her.
That's original.
And also that the father of her child was a soldier sent back to protect her.
No.
He was from the future, too. The year 2029, if I remember correctly. And here we are. Morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Dr. Silberman. How's the knee?
Remember when 2029
Yeah.
sounded like it would so far in the future you couldn't
Yeah.
possibly imagine it?
It's like the old Conan O'Brien skit in the year 2000.
Which they did after the year 2000?
Yeah, I actually recently rewatched Terminator, and the year is like 2024, and the machines are running the world. I'm like, wow, I can't tell if we're close to that or not. It feels like we're getting closer every day. My joke is if someone comes in and says, turn off your toaster, it's about to kill you, we know that Terminator really happened.
I think they were predicting flying cars like in 2002.
I think they have versions of that now.
No.
Yes, no, the flying cars is a thing.
It is?
Well,
Okay.
the self-driving cars is one step away.
No, self-driving we have.
Yeah, Google this.
The companies are called Delta and JetBlue.
Yeah, a
No,
little
I
bit different.
think-
And you get snacks.
I think
Once in a
basically
while.
everything Elon doing is a play to get flying cars, jets, and stuff.
Oh, that's what he's doing.
Just something.
We can only hope. Terminator 2 faces off against the 7 seed. This is the lowest seed remaining in our movie sequel bracket. Congrats, Die Hard 2.
If Esperanza gets on that plane and makes it to a country that has no extradition treaties, we're
They're talking to us on our own damn system. They gotta be close. I'll have my men tear this airport apart.
just in the nick of time, huh?
Hey, McLean, I got a first-class unit here, SWAT team and all. We don't need any Monday morning quarterbacks.
Monday morning, my wife's on one of the damn planes these guys are with. That puts me on the playing field. And if you'd have moved your fat ass when I told you to, we wouldn't be hip deep in right now.
That's it.
Man, nobody curses like McLean.
No, he's good at that.
So there you go. Voting is now open. Star
Challenge
Wars,
accepted.
Empire Strikes Back against Batman Returns, and then Terminator 2 against Die Hard 2. And those two winners will play each other or face off. Dark Knight and Godfather 2 have made the Final Four on the other side.
We could have a side bracket. Who wins in a fight? Terminator 2, Darth Vader, I guess Michael Corleone, or the Joker. I mean, I think
Batman doesn't get to be in that fight?
No, the bad guys. I'm doing the bad guys.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I hear bad guy.
I mean, Darth Vader's going to use the Force on Terminator 2, but Terminator 2 is going to turn into liquid and reform as something else. That's a
Did nobody
good
in
battle.
Star Wars ever turned into a liquid?
No, I think Terminator 2 was definitely revolutionary. I don't think
felt like it.
I don't think film-wise you could do that back then.
I don't know if anyone could. Probably George Lucas. Looks like flying cars could soon become a reality, according to an article from January of this year.
Yeah, no, there's been initiatives for flying cars.
I'm taking Vader over everybody, by the way.
You think Vader, but
Doesn't he have mind control?
yeah, but Liquid Terminator's a robot.
Yeah, but he has telekinesis, so he can throw around that robot whoever way he wants. He doesn't have to touch the robot.
Yeah, but the robot, I mean, Terminator 2 is quite advanced.
I understand that, but Vader is Vader. Vader in Empire Strikes Back is like not prime Vader, but close.
You're probably right because he does take on robots in some of the Star Wars
he's
movies.
just destroying them.
I don't know, guys. The bad guys in Rush Hour 2 are pretty bad as well.
I was just like, wow, I'm really on a show with a bunch of dorks.
I mean, Ricky Tan
Bunch
is
of
not
dorks.
missing in this list.
There's like 3 of the top 5 grossing movies of all time we're debating here. Star Wars?
Can you put it on the poll? Who would win in a fight, Terminator 2 or Darth Vader? Or what would they call him? They call him the T-2000?
T2? Liquid Terminator, I think most people.
What was the name of the model, though, of the
He is a
the
model
robot?
name.
I think it's the 2000. Dorcas Malorcas.
But I think most people, if you say who would win in a fight, Liquid Terminator or Darth Vader, you're right, Darth Vader. Now I might need to amend my vote. But Darth Vader lets his emotion gets in the way, his softness for Luke, and then the Emperor has to get involved. You know, the old story.
I'm sorry. Try to be less nerdy. It's the T-1000.
Yeah, 1000. I'm going Vader. T-1000 was sick though. I mean, did you guys ever go to Universal Studios in Orlando and do the Terminator experience?
No. I've been to there. I don't remember that.
Was ill. Like, I'm telling you, this is like 1995 maybe or whatever.
Yeah.
Damn.
Good year.
Yeah, I'm young, and it was 3D glasses. So, and they bring out like Terminator type people, and then they're playing like a 3D screen in the background, and like the liquid guys like shooting stuff right at your face.
Oh, fun.
And there's like cold air coming down. There's mist. That is one of the dopest rides I've ever been on. Still.
Really, they've gotten pretty advanced in the last few years. Have you been to any of the new ones?
I haven't been to one in a while, but I've been to a bunch of. They're all great.
Yeah, you've been on a good ride in 30 years.
Would
I've
you
been to
go
other great
Universal Studios or Disney if you had to choose?
We've done this trip 2 or 3 times. We always do both.
Oh, you do both.
The one thing you are not getting out of that Dagon Alley without buying $300 worth of Harry Potter stuff. Universal's Harry Potter stuff is crazy, but it's super expensive. I got sick at Disney. I told you the story of how I got sick.
No.
There's a very famous ride, the Avatar ride. It's a 3D experience.
Yes.
And then I did that into Mount Everest, which is a roller coaster where you go backwards, and I turned as green as Shrek afterwards. It was nuts.
Did you actually uke it up?
I
or
did
you
not.
Hold it down?
I should have. I should have gone, pulled a Maggie, got in the car, and thrown it up in my coffee cup.
I thought maybe you said you got sick eating one of those gigantic turkey legs or something that was sitting out in the sun.
No, those are always. I've never had one of those, but I've always been tempted.
Same.
Never had one either.
Oh, I had one at medieval times. It was awesome.
I had one at the Super Bowl in Minnesota. They sell them there. The Eagles Patriots Super Bowl.
How'd
it
it go?
was pretty good. It wasn't scary. You think that they're a bacterial risk?
Well, just like if you're at Disney World, it's the middle of July, so it feels like the center of the sun, and then you got meat out there just kind of cooking. Probably pass.
Your son is 5. It's coming, Maggie.
That was some big meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah, you are definitely going to have to do that trip.
Well, now what EJ said, that Terminator 2 ride, maybe we'll take him to Universal Studios instead of Disney.
You think that thing is still up 30 years later?
There's no way it's still up.
Aw.
But it was. No, this was a awesome experience. I'm trying to find, like, I guess the final performance of this show was December 2012. Think about that.
Are we due for another Terminator?
No, I just looked this up. There's been 5. There's one in 2019. Terrible.
Get out of here.
We watched it at home the other day.
What was it, like Judgment Day or something?
It was.
No, that's 2.
No,
Oh,
it
my
was.
bad.
It was so bad. It was a B movie. It had Linda Hamilton, and Arnold made a cameo. It was just awful. And then there's been how many? There's been 6. I think.
I didn't even know that there was any past 2.
Well, there's one with Christian Bale and Sam Worthington. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
And then there's 2 more after that, I think. Arnold shows up, and he's been in a bunch of them.
That's crazy. I totally.
I don't know
went over my
how
head.
they do old Arnold.
The one in Orlando, this ride opened in 1996, April, and its last performance in Florida was October 9th, 2017.
That's a hell of a run.
That's a 21-year run. I'm telling you, I know there are people who have got on this ride. This ride was sick. It lasted until almost the 2020s.
I believe you. It's basically Space Mountain. 888-710-4ISN. Lots more to do, including, man, a story that I know this is an all-time great player, but I am just sick of this. I don't want him anywhere near my team. We'll tell you who we're talking about next. It's M&P.
Go Chargers, go.
You're in a 5-minute. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. So I just shocked Maggie Gray with the list of Terminator movies that she was not aware of, and I think most of us were not aware of. The Terminator 3 was 2003, Terminator 4, 2009, Terminator 5, Terminator Genesis, 2015, and Terminator 6. 2019 Terminator Dark Fate, which was not good.
Was James Cameron like anywhere near these?
James Cameron left, well, his wife, Linda Hamilton, was in 6. So, yeah, actually, James Cameron did this story for this. It starred Mackenzie Davis, who's an awesome actress, and Arnold made an appearance. I didn't stick through to the end. I don't know what they do with an older Arnold. Is this one of those de-aging things?
Go Chargers, go.
But
was he just like, well, if it's just a cameo, you can be old, but a robot can't really age, isn't that?
That's the problem. Yeah, that's why Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin didn't want to go into Beetlejuice 2 because ghosts don't age either.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, Beetlejuice 2 did not make the sequel bracket. Interesting.
I didn't see it. It just came out.
Yeah, I saw it. It's okay. It's not bad. Not great. There were a lot of, EJ, every day I walk into the hall, he's like, man, we should have put this one in the sequel bracket. We should have put that one in the sequel bracket.
Listen, we only had 64 spots.
I know.
And obviously we did a good job in seeding this because it's been a lot of chalk.
Yep.
And again, you can vote now. We've got Elite 8 is open, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back against Batman Returns, and then Terminator 2 facing off against Die Hard 2.
Did we put up the side poll? Who wins a fight, Darth Vader versus Liquid Terminator?
Yeah, we're going to put that up.
Okay, you
that
can
old question.
One more person asked me that today. You can go vote at Maggie and Pearl on X. Speaking of, if I hear this one more time today, in reality, shocking. Kevin Durant wants another basketball team. Wow, never could have seen that coming. Just asked to a trade, demanded one, in fact. Not just any old trade, though, to go to the Phoenix Suns. That was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, basically.
Come on, bro.
It's been an outright disaster. Ditto that for Brooklyn Nets, where it was extremely disappointing in another handpicked place that Kevin Durant wanted to go to. And now the report from Shams Charania is that the New York Knicks have a mutual interest in Kevin Durant, and people see him as a finishing piece on a championship contender. In what? Going back to the Warriors of earlier in the century? Think about it. Durant had to go to already an all-time great team, a 72-win team, one that had alphas and structure and hierarchies and all of that. And even they could only make it work for 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Right. Who thinks that he actually could be a finishing piece on something that's anything but almost nearly perfect, which is what the Warriors were?
Define finishing piece.
Like
like 6-man? Are we talking?
I think just rotation piece that gets put on a team and they win the title.
I'm assuming at this point of his career, he's not a great defender.
He's okay.
He's okay.
He's fine.
It's not the basketball to me, actually. Yeah. It's the moodiness. It's the lack of leadership. I'm not going to say bus rider. I think that obviously that's like Charles Barkley, what he says about Durant. The basketball is still there. I just don't trust anything else around it. He says, I want to hoop and go home. It's like, well, people are looking at you like you're one of the top 15 players of all time, so they maybe are looking for a little bit more, and you're clearly not delivering on the intangibles here.
He's an idiot and a fool.
I just don't think the basketball can still be there. He's turned 37 before the season. He's had a million injuries. Obviously, the famous Achilles injury. I can't imagine that he's got enough gas left in the tank to be a real finishing piece.
He played 75 games last year. He's played 62 games this year. He's playing 37 minutes a game. He's averaging 27 points a game. It's all still there.
Yeah, but 27 on a bad team.
Well, okay, but
that's kind of
still sharing the ball with Devin Booker and I guess Beal off the bench. But here's the thing, though. You'd be silly not to use him if he's on your team. I just question the idea that, when I think of a finishing piece, you've got to be the right kind of person there with the right kind of temperament. And again, we're watching Jimmy Butler go to the Warriors, and he's fitting in seamlessly. I think that's the credit to the Warriors, that they can absorb these guys and that it works. Brooklyn couldn't do it. Phoenix can't do it. I don't know why the Knicks would think they could do it. Maybe because Jalen Brunson's already the captain. I don't know.
Wow. What are the other options? The one I liked was Houston, because Houston has enough young defenders that they can cover for Durant, in my mind. The Knicks already have a guy who's 7 feet tall, can shoot the lights out and doesn't play that much defense. I just don't think KD is a all-around player at 37.
Durant's defensive numbers, to be clear, are very good this year. I know you keep saying I don't
come on, but can you imagine him in Thibodeau's system at 37? Is he really going to have the energy to run around like that?
Just saying, the synergy stats suggest he's in the top percentile in terms of defending.
So I don't know.
I don't think it's the basketball to me. It's the other stuff. Like, I just think that if he comes on your team, unless, again, it was the Warriors, which was the perfect storm, his otherworldly talent has not been enough to not just get teams into championship contention, to avoid being just outright disasters. Guys, beyond disappointing. Beyond. So I wouldn't bring him in. If I'm close to a title, I don't want to bring him in.
What if you have to give up nothing for him?
Still, I think does it kill the vibe?
What vibe are we talking about with these teams anyway?
I think the Knicks have a vibe. I mean, I know this year's been a little bit different, but they had the whole Villanova thing, and they have Brunson is a leader. Karl Anthony Towns has been good for them.
Who needs Brunson?
T-Wolves were in the Western Conference Finals last year. So they were, in theory, a contender. These are not teams that are bottom feeders or barely making the playoffs. I know the T-Wolves are in a tight race now, but...
I mean, am I wrong about this? I don't think that Durant, I just think there's a moodiness there that sucks the energy out of people.
I just don't think he really seriously impacts winning on a major level like championship.
But why not if the stats are good? If the defensive numbers are okay, his shooting numbers are still really, really good. I'm not quite sure why I understand. I totally agree. The mood thing is a problem, but why is he not more effective at winning if his numbers are so good?
Probably because he's overpaid. I think the problem with the Suns is they have basically 3 or 2.5 good players and a bunch of minimum salary guys.
Right.
And if you're absorbing Durant's salary of $50 million, as talented as he is, given his age, given the things we talked about, he probably isn't worth $55 million. He just isn't. So how do you build a team around him that is, to Maggie's point, almost perfect, and also have him on your roster? It's extremely hard. The Warriors only did it because of a fluke in the CBA where all this money came flooding in because of a TV deal. That's the only reason why he won championships over there.
Yeah, the salary cap spiked in this big way that was unexpected. Well, it's expected, but that had never happened before.
Well, I think I also think that he, Paul George came to the Sixers last year, and I did say 35, he's going to decline fast. I think KD's going to decline. I mean, he's just too old. I don't think he's a real serious piece.
888-710-4ISN. Is KD a finishing piece on a championship contender? Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines.
What did Jalen Brunson score yesterday?
Guys, the Boston Celtics are back home last night after the first 6-0 road trip in team history. They had won 9 straight overall, but they lost to the Heat 124-103. And Joe Mazzulla not okay with that.
Yeah, he seems to be doing okay. He's just icing it right now. I didn't see the play, but
that's not the right Joe Mazzulla cut.
I was going to say.
That is Joe Mazzulla. But
directly contradicting that setup.
That's from 2 weeks ago. I don't understand that one. That's weird.
Sure, blame the computers.
Yeah. No, I mean, it probably was my fault, but here is exactly what I wanted Joe to tell you.
We're all pissed. I mean, we all hate losing, and that was my message. Was a good reminder that losing still sucks. So I love the fact that, the staff's miserable. The guys were pissed. No, I'm not happy about it.
Tyler Hero had 25 points, 9 assists as Miami won its 6th in a row. It's 11 straight for the Thunder, 119-103 over the Pistons. OKC finishes the regular season at 29-1 against the Eastern Conference. The Clippers, wow. The Clippers stayed hot, 114-98 over the Pelicans. Kawhi Leonard scored 28, and the Nuggets took a 113-106 home loss from the Spurs while resting all 5 starters on the second night of a back-to-back. Look at it this way. The Yankees are the Knicks, and Arizona righty Zach Gallen is an elite NBA team.
Swing and a miss on the 3-2. And another strikeout for Gallen. Make it a baker's dozen here for the Milkman. 2 down in the bottom of the 7th.
13 Ks over 6 2/3 scoreless for Gallen. His Diamondbacks held off the Yanks 4-3 in the Bronx last night, while those Knicks lost to the Cavaliers 124-105. Red Sox lefty Garrett Crochet threw a career-high 8 innings, striking out his team with a 3-0 win in Baltimore, and Shohei Ohtani a walk-off solo shot for a 6-5 Dodger win over the Braves. LA is now 8-0. Atlanta is 0-7. Alex Ovechkin, career goal number 892 in the Capitals' 5-1 loss to Carolina. Ovi now 4 goals away from passing Wayne Gretzky's all-time mark. Bears CEO Kevin Warren said yesterday the team now considering suburban Arlington Heights as a site for their new stadium. The team for a while now has owned 326 acres of land there, but had been focusing only on a downtown venue until now. Men's college basketball, Chris Beard staying at Ole Miss after flirting with the Texas A&M opening. Beard gets a raise and some more NIL money. And it's not completely official yet, but FIFA says the U.S. will host the Women's World Cup in 2031, the U.K. in 2035. Back to you guys.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Lots more to do, of course. We've got to get to, I love this story. We're going to get to this, something that came across yesterday that we found a little surprising. 888-710 for ISN. Top of the hour, Brendan Haywood, 2 Final Fours with North Carolina Tar Heels, won a title with the Dallas Mavericks, will join the show. Fun fact about Brendan Haywood, one of the only people who was teammates with both Michael Jordan and LeBron James. We will talk to him at the top of the hour. Don't move, it's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Pearl, I don't know if you saw this, but the Kansas City Chiefs are lobbying or would like to become the official Christmas Day team of the National Football League.
Got it.
So kind of like the Lions and the Cowboys both play on Thanksgiving every year. The Chiefs want to be the team that play on Christmas because apparently it doesn't matter what day Christmas falls on. We are playing NFL games on Christmas. We had it on Wednesday this year.
Right.
Tuesday, who cares? Player safety is not a real thing.
Well, I kind of like it. I think it's cool. Why not? If you could play on Thursday of Thanksgiving, why you can work around it. It's fine. It's no big deal. I am not as you guys were really upset about this last year. I am more of the shallow. More football is good. Now they added a third Christmas game. Let's go. Problem is, I'm usually really full by the last game.
You're in a coma.
It happens on Thanksgiving too. That night game is kind of hard to wrap my head around. But more football, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find a nap somewhere. It's hard, especially if family's over. It's tough. But the Chiefs want to be the official Christmas Day team. And I understand it. And the Chiefs are obviously super, super popular now. But the Chiefs haven't historically been a national brand, right? Like, you know, the New England Patriots were awesome for 2 decades. They never got a designated anything.
Yeah, but they were not so super fun, though. They were kind of like the...
Yeah, you think? With Bill Belichick as their coach?
They were like the San Antonio Spurs. I don't think they were a fun team. The Chiefs are kind of fun.
Well, to be fair, though, I mean, Brady was married to the most famous supermodel. I mean, they had all... Gronk is a character. Like, they had all the, you know, the other things that
But they never
make
threatened.
them interesting.
They never threatened the Cowboys, though, as the most popular team.
No, but also the Cowboys, like, have really kind of... It feels like the Cowboys are as far as ever from actually winning.
It feels like the Chiefs... You know, people are calling them America's team. Do you buy that?
Well, listen, Kelsey's got what, one more year?
Yep.
And then the Kelsey-Taylor thing goes away.
Right.
And, Mahomes is always going to be a draw, but Mahomes deserves that, and he earns it. Is he so far head and shoulders, though, above Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow? Probably because the winning. But those guys do great ratings, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's really now two factors in ratings: the Cowboys and the Chiefs. And by the way, the Cowboys have not fallen off as much as people think.
Do you think though? But the Cowboys is also generations of national fans, right? Like Kansas City still is, I would say, more local.
I think Kansas City will stick. First of all, I just looked at Patrick Mahomes' age, and it's younger than I thought. He's 29.
Yeah, no, he's going to be around forever.
10 more years. Feels like a safe bet that they're going to be relevant because of Mahomes and his age. Yeah, and Andy, here's the question. When Andy Reid retires, will they still be good? They're going to be good. I mean, maybe they don't win Super Bowls, but this seems like a very safe bet.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if when the Mahomes thing is over, just like with the Patriots, we don't know what's going to happen with Drake May, and they may have this other renaissance. But once Brady left, there's just not a national footprint for the New England Patriots. And I wonder if the national footprint will exist for the Kansas City once Mahomes leaves.
But think about it. Tom Brady turned 29 probably in 2000, like the perfect season, 2007. He still had 13 more years for the Patriots. If you had signed up for that deal, that's pretty good. I don't think, honestly, if you were going to pick a team in the NFL who you're most confident will still be good for a decade, I think the Chiefs are the easy choice.
Right. I guess there's something about these traditions, though, that are just so, the Lions stunk forever and always got the Thanksgiving game, right? It was just like this tradition that we all kind of just sort of went along with, I guess. The Cowboys feel like they earned it. To be fair, Pittsburgh Steelers don't really have a tradition, even though they have a huge national fan base and have for a really long time. I'd say the same for the San Francisco 49ers. I just think there's something about I just don't know. I think this is what it comes down to. For as phenomenal as this era of Chiefs football has been, do you think it's actually bred so many national fans that they will continue to be a national brand after Mahomes retires? Like, the Cowboys will be national, the Steelers will be national, the Packers will be national till the end of time. Quarterbacks come and go, coaches come and go. I don't know, just like New England has not enjoyed that.
But New England never went national. There was never anybody like the Patriots outside of New England, in my opinion. Like they did, well, yeah, a few. Actually, we have someone on the network who liked the Patriots.
Yeah, Zach Elb.
But I don't know.
Born and raised in New York, but a big Patriot fan. I guess, I
think the Chiefs are the new America's team. I can buy that. They're the biggest factor we've seen since Dallas in the 90s. I think. I saw some ratings over the last 2 years. Chiefs games have done big. Who doesn't want to see the Chiefs play?
I know, but their ratings have been goosed
by their success.
By Taylor.
Oh.
Yes, the success, but also Taylor. The last 2 years, what's happened over the last 2 years that made them very different? I mean, she elevated them into a different stratosphere.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Patrick Mahomes has 3 rings in. He's probably going to win at least 2 more. This is a very, very safe choice.
But Brady won 6. And it didn't do what you thought it was going to do.
But that, again, if it was year 2007, any network, any league would have definitely signed. If New England said, we'll play every Christmas, there would have been a party in Park Avenue. That'd be great, right? So, you're projecting way too ahead. The post-Mahomes era, we're not even going to be alive for that.
These guys play forever now.
He's 29. He could have 14 more years there. Come on. What are we talking about? Are you worried in the year 2042 that the Chiefs are going to be 6-11 and then it's still going to be a bad idea?
And it's going to ruin Christmas?
Yeah. Come on. I don't understand. Well, who would be concerned about this?
Well, I guess I'm just asking more of the question, do the Chiefs have the staying power? Because, again, Travis is going to retire next year. So Travis and Taylor are gone after that.
I also feel they have a same niche as Detroit. A Midwestern city playing on Christmas feels wholesome. I like it. The red is nice. Everyone loves Arrowhead. They have an iconic stadium, kind of like Detroit. It sort of feels organic. Like a Hallmark movie.
No, they already
Chiefs
have
play
one
on
of
Christmas.
those.
9-time MVP wide receiver. Yeah,
that was such a great line. 9-time MVP.
Yeah, I don't know why. I feel like they're a Christmassy team. The red, it all works.
888-710-4ISN. So that's the Chiefs, by the way. They're the ones who want this. I feel like it's not going to be that hard to sell the NFL front office on this.
Do you remember a few months ago, everybody hated the Chiefs? That felt like since they lost, that's gone away.
No.
I don't.
Not gone away yet.
Really? I can't imagine. Why would you bother hating the Chiefs? It doesn't make any sense.
Because they're so good. Just because they lost to the Eagles doesn't mean that I like the Chiefs anymore or the Eagles anymore, quite frankly.
Why did everyone start to hate Steph Curry and the Warriors? I don't understand this resentment of greatness on teams that are harmless. Again, Shohei and the Dodgers. I don't understand why you would hate the Dodgers.
Because they're a juggernaut, and it feels just like a fait accompli that they're going to win the title.
I'm going old school. Generally, a lot of people like Michael Jordan Bulls, even if you weren't in Chicago. He was very popular. It was super fun to root for him.
I think it's also very important that you need rivals, and obviously the Dodgers have their rival in the San Francisco Giants, but the Giants haven't been as relevant lately. Just this unchecked juggernaut that's just going to steamroll through everything, to me, is not that interesting. Congrats, you spent more and you're winning a lot. Like, that to me is not that fun, interesting, right, compelling. Either someone's got to play foil to this, and I don't know who it's going to be in the division, or like we need some. It doesn't feel like they're going to run up against any kind of adversity.
So
sports is all about overcoming adversity. That's the thing about the Warriors when they got really good, or the Chiefs. Like, you can have great games, but they just, when they win so much, it feels like they make it look easy.
Right, but it's not easy. I mean, the Chiefs didn't have a spending advantage.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, so I think that's an unfair criticism because I get it with the Dodgers. They've spent so much money. But listen, I don't think you should penalize. I did not understand the Chiefs hate last year.
Well, I don't think people like the Patriots. People didn't get on board with the Patriots easily because I think they just so easily won the division every year. Like, it just felt like they were getting penciled into the AFC Championship game year after year after year.
Well, maybe it's because they cheated. To quote my friend Eric Cartman on South Park, Bella cheat.
Yeah, that's another reason why people didn't like them.
I get that, but Kansas City they're positive. Travis Kelce has an incredible podcast. Patrick Mahomes is very likable. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and all that, they were a little more like the evil empire. Anyway, I'm putting them on Christmas. I'm putting them on every holiday if I can. And by the way, 3 Christmas games. Come on, you say that it's player safety, whatever. We're going to be so psyched to watch those games.
It's just weird when the games are on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Like, that's just so obvious that that's going to mess with a team down the stretch or could have the ability to when you're already in week 16. It's just rough.
Man up.
888-710-4ISN. Got to play something for you from yesterday. Love a hot mic. We can play this, right? This was a very compelling game yesterday between the Miami Marlins and the New York Mets. We're in extras. They're coming back from break on SNY. Here is Keith Hernandez.
Piss poor hitting.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Infinity. Experience the Infinity lineup at your local retailer today.
To be fair, the Mets had the bases loaded and couldn't get a run across. So, yes, not good hitting. When do you think they realized, Perloff, that had made it out over the air?
Oh, I don't know. That's actually, I'm so glad because I would think Keith Hernandez is a big cursor.
Well, he's a former baseball player. I think they all are.
That's okay. That one probably, they were slightly embarrassed. Like, what's your embarrassment level on that?
I mean, listen, no one's like losing a job or getting in trouble. They didn't even apologize for it. Like, oh, I'm sorry, something may have gone over the air that shouldn't. But that's pretty hilarious.
It's Garon Keith. They're not going to get. They're just going to get a little hand slap from SNY, and we'll call the game tomorrow.
I don't even think they're getting a hand slap. Ron wasn't even there. Just Keith and Gary taking.
Oh, got Keith.
It was Keith.
Good Keith. No Garon Keith.
No,
Keith.
No Ron. I think they noticed immediately. I think that Gary Cohn knew right away. Play it again, Manny.
Piss poor hitting.
We're hot, guys.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Infinity. Experience the Infinity lineup at your local retailer today.
Whose fault is that? Keith's or the audio engineer?
The producer.
Yeah. Probably the producer.
Didn't tell him it's a hot mic.
I let you guys know every time you guys are on remote that you guys have a hot mic.
It is true, and we appreciate it every single time.
Hot mic.
888-710-4ISN. Let us know what you think about the Chiefs. Got a question out there for you. Who would win in a fight, Darth Vader or the T-1000 from Terminator 2?
Or the bad guys from Rush Hour?
Coming up, NBA champion, man who played in 2 Final Fours from your North Carolina Tar Heels, Brendan Haywood's going to join us next. Maggie Perloff.
9-time MVP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Get back to the football in just a moment. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We got the Final Four, bro. It's on our doorstep right now.
I cannot wait.
Here's a question for you. We got chalk, so it's all 4 number 1 seeds on the men's side. What do you think is like, let's go storybook here, because there's no David. It's all Goliaths. So what do you think would actually be as close to a storybook outcome as possible?
Storybook. I mean, obviously, if the NCAA organizers had anything to say here, Duke would be cutting down the net. Duke is the draw.
Do they need them to cut down the net, though, or do they just need them in the championship game
that's
for the
a good
ratings?
question. I mean, Florida feels like a little bit of a David. No, I mean, nobody saw them coming.
They won the SEC, though.
Yeah, I know. So, I guess Storybook, maybe Auburn with the old guys. Gosh, I don't know.
See,
I'm not sure there is a Storybook. Kelvin Sampson?
That's what I would say. I was going to say Kelvin Sampson, or maybe Bruce Pearl. Kelvin Sampson, you could say 1A. The thing about Kelvin Sampson, why I think this would be the best story to come out of this, is a guy like Bruce Pearl who got in trouble for some NCAA things that were pretty Mickey Mouse. You know, this was not serious allegations. It's like calling guys too much or having, having a barbecue, that kind of thing. Like improper contact or something. This is not scandal, like pearl clutching scandals like we've seen in some college basketball ranks. These ones were pretty small by, certain standards. And guys who, had to leave the sport for a little bit, and Kelvin Sampson ended up going to the NBA as an assistant and then coming back. And I think why Sampson would be the best story is because, took a team and a program that has a great, rich history in Houston, but had kind of fallen into a little bit of irrelevance. They're in the AAC. Now they're in the Big 12. And he's maintained a winner there, but they haven't been able to break through. Like, that's an awesome story.
I got to tell you, I'm not sure you're selling me.
No? Really?
On paper, it's good. I just don't have that emotional connection to that storyline, to be totally honest.
Okay, so you're more of in the Bruce Pearl vein.
No. I think what you led this segment off is there's no Cinderella story. Not when you have 4 number 1s, Maggie. I think you're almost a screenwriter in this case, trying to create one. The reality is you got 4 great basketball teams. I don't think we're getting any kind of feel-good story.
Well, the other one, if you wanted to say, you could go Cooper Flagg wire to wire. He came in as the number 1 recruit. He's having this all-time amazing season with Duke. If he cut down the nets, it's a little Carmelo Anthony-esque, but I don't even think Melo had that much hype going into Syracuse.
No. He's more Goliath, though. He's got no David.
No. There's no David there. But it'd probably be one of those, greatest college seasons of all time. Like, we could put it up there amongst, like, the all-time best. Yeah. So maybe that's the kind of story that we want. Anyway, you're welcome to weigh in at 888-710-4ISN is the Maggie and Perloff show. If you're going to ask me, Coach, I want to get a beer with, though. Yeah. Then.
Yep.
I mean, got to be Bruce Pearl.
Oh, definitely. Well, all 4 are pretty cool, but yeah, Bruce Pearl.
I think it's got to be Bruce. I think that's definitely it. All right. Okay. Lots more to do, including what is one of the most interesting stories right now, Pearl, and we'll get back to basketball in just a moment. But what's going on right now with Shedeur Sanders and whether or not it is just smokescreens or is there actually truth to what Adam Schefter is saying in his most recent podcast, which is Cleveland and the Giants, both teams that need quarterbacks who we thought were in for Shedeur, now could be out.
Yeah, I mean, Schefter seemed very confident that the Browns and the Giants will pass and he will fall below number 3. You know, it's so funny. It's been such a roller coaster because we came in February and there were some draft analysts who said he's not a top 5 talent.
Yep.
And then everybody put him in the top 5 of every mock draft, and now he's falling. Hard to tell what's media buzz, what's reality. These NFL teams have something else going on that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
The way Schefter said it, felt like he got information in the owners' meeting.
Yeah, he said increasingly unlikely. That is the word that he used. Increasingly unlikely that the Browns and the Giants would take Shedeur Sanders at 2 or at 3. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be honest, Schefter's as plugged in as anybody, and I know this is his reporting. I think it's a smokescreen. I think teams are using him as an oopsie-doop here because there's just the desperation of the demand hasn't gone anywhere. Spare me the Russell Wilson signing and the Kirk Cousins rumors. Like the long-term quarterback situation is not. It's not solved for either of these teams.
What is the purpose of a smokescreen for, say, Cleveland, who's at number 2? Cam Ward goes number 1 to Tennessee, everyone presumes. Why would the Cleveland be doing a smokescreen?
So I think the reason why is if they think that a team is so in love with Shedeur that they want to coax somebody into trading up. And
by saying he's not good enough to take at number 2?
Well, maybe they just want to see what the offer might be. And whether or not they're going to actually take it would be different.
Well, this is a terrible strategy then, because if they're getting out the word, we're not going to take him at 2. That means he's going to fall to 3.
Well, maybe they want the Giants to get scared. I have no idea. I think they want someone to make them an offer. That's the only thing I can come up with.
But why would they need to make him an offer if basically they're saying we're not taking him, so he's going to be available at 3? Then you call the Giants.
Well, you could. I guess my thing about that is you want to get it out there, like
so someone knows the Browns aren't taking a quarterback.
Exactly.
I don't know. Or is it possible they like Travis Hunter more?
I think that if you put Travis versus Shedeur, you're always going to like Travis Hunter more.
Yeah,
but
he's a higher prospect. Yeah, it's a great debate between supply and demand here.
Yeah.
Shedeur goes there because you need a quarterback. Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter goes there because he's a great player.
Yeah, well, the funny part about Carter, though, is, I wonder, does the foot injury play into this at all? I didn't think the shoulder was going to, but the foot, a little bit different.
Yeah.
And he's an amazing player.
I think he's gone top 3.
Even with the injury concern.
Yeah, I mean, a foot, the guy's young. You remember when we were young, Maggie, we could recover in 3 days? Yeah, I don't think. So the funny thing, too, say Shedeur does fall, then New England's sitting there and they're like at number 4. They would be so upset if they didn't get a Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter because they already have their quarterback.
Yeah, they're really hoping. They'd be giddy if Shedeur lands in any of those spots 2 or 3 because it means one of these awesome guys is right out there for them. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We got a couple poll questions out there. I'm sorry, do you want to say something?
No, here's another thing. Is Shedeur, I know why Shedeur's falling too. It's the height.
The height, not the hype.
Yeah, height. If he was 6'3", he'd be drafted number 2. Absolutely. He's a bit undersized. And at the end of the day, that is a huge deal still to the NFL. I know Caleb Williams was not tall, but Jaden Daniels was. Drake May was gigantic. Why do you think Penix wasn't a top 3 pick? Because he's a bit short. I just think Shedeur is not the greatest on paper prospect. And that's why this whole discussion is happening.
Okay, but Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, I mean, we have guys who are even shorter than 6'1". Yep. I mean, Bryce Young, these guys are still going not number 1 overall.
Yeah, I know. But I think the trend is, Kyler Murray has not really won anything in Arizona. Bryce Young is a bust. Baker.
Not yet.
Oh,
okay.
Come on. Okay.
That'll be for another day.
Bryce Young, Bryce Young's really been, whatever.
Baker Mayfield wasn't a bust.
Is he still there?
No, he's not, but that's the Browns' fault. That's not Baker's fault. I think the short quarterback thing, I think we're over it. I think we're past it.
Do you think if Shedeur came in at 6'3", 220, there'd be any debate about this?
Well, I think he's coming in at 6'1", and I still think that he's going to be going top 3 overall. We got him? Okay, cool. Well, we'll leave the football conversation there. Let's turn our attention to basketball, and we're so pleased to be joined by a man who is an NBA champion with the Dallas Mavericks, played in 2 Final Fours for your North Carolina Tar Heels. That's Brendan Haywood, who's joining us on behalf of Bet Online. Check out Bet Online for the most up-to-date games, lines, futures, and props on the Final Four. Brendan, it's Maggie Gray and Andrew Perloff. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. I know we don't have a ton of time with you. We appreciate you doing this, and I'm sorry to start off this interview by talking about your biggest rival. How painful is it for you to see Duke in the Final Four?
It's very painful. Grant Hill has been quite unruly on the group chat this year, so I need Houston or Florida or somebody to get it done for me because he's been quite out of character.
I can't believe there's a Duke-UNC crossover group chat. Who else is in that chat?
Well, it's just, we work together at Turner. So it's me and some guys that work at Turner and some guys that used to work there that are just friends. And, he's been having a good time this year in the group chat. So I need the Blue Devils to go down. But unfortunately, I think they're the best team in the Final Four.
Brendan, I have a question that might put you in a better mood. Are you sure that Cooper Flagg, if they do not win the championship, will go pro? Is it in your mind, is it a done deal that he's going to go and be the number one pick, or is there any chance that he'll return to Duke?
It's a done deal. He's going to be the number one pick. Why would he come back to school?
Because he doesn't like the team that's picking. Say it's one of your former team, Washington, wins the lottery, and maybe he says, I can make $11 million in NIL.
I mean, that's one way to look at it. But if I was Cooper Flagg, I would tell him that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because seriously, because it's not like the Boston Celtics are going to get the number one pick next year. Let's say he doesn't like Washington. Okay, well, then the Hornets going to get the pick next year. Like, the team picking number one is going to be a bad team every year. What are you going to do, like 7 years of college like the guy at Kansas? Like, what are you going to do?
Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant didn't go number one.
Yeah, maybe Cooper says, I'll wait in the draft to go to the team I want. I don't think he will, but I think there are options.
Cooper Flagg is going to be a top-tier pick no matter when he comes out. And normally the top part of the draft is filled with bad teams. It's going to be bad teams this year, bad teams next year, and everybody talking about the $11 million. If I was advising Cooper Flagg, I would say that's short-sighted. The big money is getting to is the quickest way you can get to your secondary NBA contract. That's where the big money is. So the more time you stay in school, the less amount of time you have to get to that contract.
Brendan Haywood is joining us, NBA champion, played in 2 Final Fours in North Carolina. There's a lot of things that you specifically, Brendan, can answer about what we're seeing right now in college basketball. And one is, again, your rival Duke. Jon Scheyer takes over for the legend Mike Krzyzewski. When you got to North Carolina, literally the year after Dean Smith retires and Bill Guthrie is your coach, just how difficult is it to take over for a legend because you witnessed it firsthand?
Well, it's difficult just because of the expectations of what that legend or the standard that legend has set. Dean Smith set an incredible standard, and Bill Guthrie had to fill those shoes. And Coach K set an incredible standard, and Jon Scheyer had to fill those shoes. And I'll say both of those guys, whether you're talking about Bill Guthrie or Jon Scheyer, they had the luxury of having very talented teams, and that helps ease the pain. When you look at this Duke team, full of pros. Like, since Jon Scheyer's been full of pros. So they have so many. So when you have a very talented roster, and even that first year that Bill Guthrie was coaching Carolina, he had Antoine Jamison and Vince Carter, Shammond Williams, myself. That's 4 NBA players right there. So when you have a lot of NBA talent, even though I didn't play so much on that team, when you have a lot of NBA talent, it makes it easier to step in and fill in for a legendary coach.
Brendan, I'm looking at the BetOnline AG, who you're here representing, and Duke is a big favorite. So they're 4. I got them right now, 5-point favorites in their upcoming game, and then they project ahead. They'd be 6-point favorites even over Auburn. Is there anybody who could stop Duke in this Final Four?
Well, it's a one-and-done tournament. Anybody can beat. All these teams are good enough to beat Duke. They're all number 1 seeds. This is the best crop of number 1 seeds we've probably had since I've been watching college basketball. But Duke is the best of that crew. But in a one-game setting, listen, if guys are off, can Houston win? Absolutely. Could Auburn win? Florida, any of those teams can beat Duke. But if you're looking at who is the best team, it's Duke. They're top 5 in offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. They have high-level pro players playing hard at both ends of the court. On a night where Duke's not scoring a lot of points, they can win ugly because they have 3 pro guys that are all playing incredibly hard on the defensive end. I think that's actually Cooper Flagg's best attribute, is that he plays so hard on a nightly basis, and what he does defensively. So, and then you got Malawach on the backside cleaning everything up just in case you get past him. So I really like this Duke team just because of the talent level and how well they compete.
Brendan Haywood is joining us, was a champion, NBA champion with the Dallas Mavericks, 2 Final Fours with North Carolina's, got into broadcasting as well, doing a great job, and joining us on behalf of Bet Online. We only got a couple more minutes for you, so you're picking Duke to win it all. Can we talk a little NBA, because you have this very unique thing about your NBA career, which was long and prosperous, and you had a phenomenal career. You were teammates with both Michael Jordan and LeBron James. It is a unique position to be in. Can you describe them both as teammates and the biggest similarity and the biggest difference between the two?
I should write a book, huh? Since I play with both. I should write a book. But they're both incredible. I hate that we pit these guys against each other all the time, but they're both incredible. But they go about being incredible in different ways. Michael Jordan is a stone cold, cutthroat killer, and if you're not helping him win, he has absolutely no time for you. Like that is just how he is. LeBron James is a killer in his own right, but he does it differently. He's not as cutthroat. He'll try to talk to you. He'll try to play the mind games with you, empower certain guys. But so they both go about their business. They just go about it differently. Incredibly hard workers, and no matter where you want to slate, where you want to put them, they're either the best or the second best in the game of all time between those two guys.
Do you think LeBron has a chance to get another ring this year or say next year?
Yeah, it's possible because he has Luka on his team, and Luka's an incredible player. So you have 2 elite players, 2 elite ball handlers. It's very, very possible. Would I say they're the favorite? No, but LeBron's good. He's still playing at a high enough level that the Lakers are a threat, especially with the way JJ Redick has done a great job coaching this year. We know what Luka can do on the offensive end. Defensively, there's some challenges. I think that's where the team might get caught up, because in the playoffs, you're going to see teams just hunt Luka all game long and force him to play, and that could be the demise or the undoing of this championship.
You're praising a lot of Duke guys.
I know, that's got to be really tough.
I mean, I got to call it like I see it, man. Like JJ's doing a great. I got to call it like I see it, man. JJ's doing a great job. So I got to say it.
You know, we started this off you telling us that Grant Hill has been unhinged in the group chat because Duke is doing so well. I can't imagine what your 2011 Dallas Mavericks group chat was like the day that they traded Luka. Everybody's got, you won a title with that team, obviously. Everybody's got a theory on why this actually went down. Why do you think they did this Luka trade?
Oh, it's simple. It's simple. When you trade a guy that's 25 years old, that's been first team All NBA for the last 5 years, you're basically saying we don't like everything. We don't like the way you do business. Guys that make All NBA 5 years in a row in the middle of their prime don't get traded unless the team just says, "Hey, we're looking at you day to day, your daily habits, and we don't like you." It's like they didn't say it out loud, and no one has told me that, but you don't trade a guy like that. Those guys, like, that's a luxury item. Have any of you guys ever been to Gucci and seen a sale? No. Luxury items normally never go on. You've never been to the Louis Vuitton store and seen a clearance rack. Luxury items don't go on sale. So when a luxury player goes on sale like this, that tells me we don't like the way you train. We don't like the way you talk to the staff, the support staff. We don't like the way that you are on film. We don't like the way you address your teammates. We don't like the way we don't like your approach to the game. We don't like the way you don't get back on defense. We don't like the way you don't try to play any defense. We don't like the fact that when the coaching staff tries to coach you, you don't want them to coach you on defense. It has to, for you to trade a player of that caliber, it has to be all of those things, because they're sitting in a meeting knowing that they're trading one of the best players in the league. They know they're not getting proper value back, but they're saying, you know what? We don't think we can win because he does so many things that basically aren't championship level from a habits-based standpoint, and that's what it is. That's the only thing it could be.
Unfortunately, that's where we have to leave it. Brendan Haywood, thank you so much for doing this on behalf of Bet Online. Check out Bet Online for the most up-to-date games, lines, futures, and props on the Final Four. Try to enjoy the Final Four, even though it is the dreaded, hated Duke Blue Devils. Thank you, Brendan.
Yeah, I'll try.
Thanks.
Brendan Haywood, that was great. Yes, no sales at Gucci.
No, I wouldn't know. I've never been in any of those stores.
Never heard of a Louis Vuitton clearance rack. Right,
no, I could get you a cheap one on Canal Street here. I don't know if it's authentic. North Carolina's a football school anyway. I don't know what Brendan's worried about here. It's got Belichick.
Right. Now the sleeping giant. Right?
Yeah. This fall, he'll be able to get back on that group chat maybe. But that's got to be brutal to have Grant Hill texting you, look at what happened.
888-710-4ISN. I was just thinking about this. One of Brendan Haywood's teammates in Washington, D.C., not just Michael Jordan, obviously that's going to be your most famous. Christian Laettner, also on that team.
Christian Laettner was a Wizard? Oh.
Christian Laettner was a Wizard, I think, for several years. And he was on that team. Yes, he was.
Yeah, on 2K, you play NBA 2K, you could play with those Wizards team, and Christian Laettner is like the second best player, which is quite sad.
It was, Brendan was probably
was
the first. I think he was there for 2 years, may have been 3.
I think he had one of his best years there.
Oh,
if I'm
really?
not mistaken. I'm pretty sure he started.
So, yeah, I think he did start. Jordan was on that team. It was
Jordan
Jerry
Laettner was on the
second year.
Jordan team? Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
I played with them on 2K. They're weird.
Stackhouse eventually got there. Anton Jameson eventually got there. Haywood was there. Etan Thomas, if you remember,
Etan, yeah.
from Syracuse.
Oh, okay. He was at the end.
He was at the end of his career. Actually, fun fact about that Christian Laettner time where he was in Washington Wizards, he got suspended at one point by the league. You want to guess what it was for?
Marijuana.
Weed.
Yeah.
Turned out after all this time, Laettner was a weed guy. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. You just gave me a weird look.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by that.
I don't know. I'm just...
the Washington team that killed me. They drafted Chris Webber and had Jawan. Was it Howard or Rashid? They had Rashid and Webber and just gave them away.
And Ben Wallace.
Eventually got
Wallace,
Ben.
I think, was he there at the same time?
He was later, I believe.
Okay.
But I mean, you had Webber was fantastic when he had a league. That was my team for about a month.
Yeah, and then he was just gone.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like, why did they just give him away to the Warriors? Why, Maggie?
I don't have the answer because they're a terribly run team. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Appreciate Brendan Haywood there, and we've got so much more for you, including, this was bizarre. A comment that was made that I just could not disagree with more if I tried with every fiber of my being. We'll get into that next. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Brendan Haywood was great, former North Carolina star, longtime NBA player. He is one of many people who's not buying my Cooper Flag could go back to college take.
I thought he was going to leave the interview.
So
when you said that, he's a very nice guy. And if you missed it, you can check out the Maggie and Perloff podcast, rewind function on the Odyssey app. We'll throw some clips on social media. He was an excellent interview, but I thought he was going to reach through the phone and strangle you.
Couple things. If Duke wins it all, then this discussion is done because he's gone to Duke and accomplished what he wants to accomplish. If they lose, especially in the Final Four game, then I'm back in. I'm going to stand by this till his name is called by Adam Silver at the draft. I'm standing by the Cooper Flag will go back to Duke to finish the job.
But I think Haywood made the great point, which is it's good just if he doesn't want to go to a bad team this year, if that's why. Because
that's not why, but yeah.
It's going to be a bad team. Next year, it's going to be the bad team.
I think he wants to win a title at Duke. Duke is more pro than the Washington Wizards. They're higher profile. They're on TV a lot more than the Utah Jazz.
What about his theory that you need to get to the second NBA contract so you want to start the clock?
I admit it. It was hard to argue against that.
You know what that max contract is,
yeah,
right?
I know. Well, I have the same argument for Arch Manning. Arch doesn't need that second contract. He's got enough money already. He's already made more money than half the quarterbacks in the NFL.
What's the max NBA contract right now? $250?
Oh, I thought it was in the threes.
Or is it in the threes now?
Well, yeah.
The super max.
Yeah, Luka was about to get like a $300 some million extension from the Mavs before they kicked him to the curb.
That's
Cooper
true.
Flagg is going to be fine financially. He can wait a year. How many millions do these guys need anyway?
Well-
to quote your guy Josh Allen, what difference is $5 million to me?
He did say that. Also, the funny quote where Josh Allen, he goes, I've got a house, I've got a truck.
You know,
like that's the only thing you need in life.
I'm sorry, but just to throw this in real quick, I actually thought of that Josh Allen quote when we were talking about Brock Purdy's contract. Brock Purdy that's a guy who should take $5 million less to get a better wide receiver because he really needs a wide receiver.
I know, but
Josh
he lives in
is
the Bay Area. Have you seen real estate out there?
Yeah,
Josh
you're
Allen
right.
could buy 5 mansions in Buffalo. Brock Purdy's got a 2-bedroom.
That's a good point. But my point is Josh Allen is, 6'5", 260 pounds and doesn't need any receivers, just run the ball. Brock Purdy needs everything right. Again, I don't even know how he got this, but Cooper Kupp can stay one more year at Duke.
Cooper Flagg. But here's the thing.
And by the way, do you know that I keep doing this on Twitter too? I keep calling
him
Cooper
Cooper
Flagg
Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. Everyone keeps saying Cooper Kupp is definitely not going back to Duke. I've done this 20
I'll show
times.
bet you that one. $320 million is the NBA Supermax. You have Cooper Kupp, Cooper Flagg. Our world is going to be dominated by Coopers.
My logic is sound. The NIL is going to change decisions. That is true. Just
Not
I might
this
have the
one.
wrong decisions.
Considering no one's ever done this in the history of the NBA that we know of, like no number 1 overall pick has ever said, I'm going to go back to college because I don't want to get drafted. To all these crap teams.
Wait. There's a long hair. Are you sure going back to the history of the draft? Are you positive?
I mean, Bogusch is here with headlines. Have him start, and I'll look up the history of the draft. And I think I got it.
Okay. All right. I was right about Kobe, though. He's like, well, Kobe fell to 13 only because he told everyone not to draft me.
Yeah, but Kobe wasn't going 1 that year.
Yeah, but he wasn't going much lower than 6. And then he said, I mean, there are players. Kobe, son of an NBA player, said, don't draft me. I don't care if I fall. The money's not that important.
Well, guys, it is the best start ever by the World Series champs. The Dodgers 8-0 after erasing an early 5-0 hold of the Braves last night. They won 6-5 when Shohei Ohtani hit a solo homer bottom 9 to end the game on his bobblehead night. Manager Dave Roberts on that comeback.
I didn't recognize that club in the first couple innings, and then just dumbfounded how we found a way to win that game. We had no business winning that game, but to our guys' credit, we just kept fighting.
As for the Braves, they are now 0-7 this season. No team has started that poorly and made the playoffs. We already discussed that this morning. We didn't know this, or at least I didn't. It's been 42 years since any team started 0-7 and even finished with a winning record. Oof. So yes, it's only April 3rd. It's only 1 week, but for some reason, a bad start like this is very, very hard to overcome, even with 150 games left.
But here's the question. Have any of those teams that started so poorly have been missing one of their best players who's definitely coming back?
I don't know.
Right.
They also played the two best teams they might play all season long because the Padres haven't lost yet either, and that's who their first series was against.
Yeah, they get to play the Marlins and all the other bottom feeder teams.
But I think this is just oddly about the math of being 7 games in the hole right out of the gate.
Yeah, I'm the worst person at math on the show, and I still just can't believe that.
Wanna bet?
Manny and I could have a horrible math off and just embarrass the crap out of each other. But
be the worst Mad Minute ever.
I just I can't believe that the Braves are out of it. I won't believe it.
They're, again, liquid Terminator. They fall apart and they reform as a stronger thing. I mean,
how's that poll going, by the way?
By the way, I just as you mentioned, I looked it up. So right now, Darth Vader is up 65% to 35% over T.
Yeah.
Vader's going to whitewash this one.
Unhappy Red Sox DH Rafael Devers got his first 2 hits of the season last night, including an RBI double and a 3-0 win in Baltimore. And the Phillies down the Rockies 5-1. Zach Wheeler K10 over 7.
Ooh. All it took was Jonathan Papelbon calling Rafael Devers a pig, and suddenly he's hitting again.
Jonathan Papelbon seems like a great guy.
Yeah, God, what a cool hang.
Yeah, what a great guy that guy is.
I can't wait for him to call me a name. It's like the team broadcast, and he called the highest paid player a pig. Okay. Back to you.
Motivation worked.
I guess
Remember when he choked out Bryce Harper in the dugout? Oh, man, what a life.
They were teammates.
Yeah, they were.
2 more teams have playoff spots in the NBA. The Pacers clinching with a 119-105 win over the Hornets, and the Hawks losing in Dallas 120-118. And the Rockets claim their spot with a 143-105 rout of the Jazz. Head coach Ime Udoka sounds like a head coach.
It feels good to be back in the playoffs, and I'm sure for the guys that have never been there, it's an accomplishment, achievement, but it was our expectation this year, building off of last year, so I don't think anybody's overly excited.
The Rockets' last playoff appearance was 5 years ago. Also of note from this game, Dylan Brooks, noted nice guy, received a technical foul for possibly accidentally kicking Colin Sexton in the Sextons during this game.
Oh, boy.
That's not allowed?
That 16th technical foul means an automatic one-game suspension, not to mention the kicking part.
Yeah.
But he's just technically suspended for a game because of too many techs.
Noted nice guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Change of course. Thrown off the scent.
You can't kick the young bull, right? Isn't that Sexton's nickname?
Is it? Nice.
Yeah.
He's a cow now.
Throwback.
Yeah.
He was just neutered last night. The Thunder ran away from the Pistons for a 119-103 win. That's 11 in a row for OKC. Their 64th win overall. The next one is a team record. The Heat snapped the Celtics' 9-game run, 124-103 in Boston. The Knicks were 124-105 losers in Cleveland, and the Clippers down the Pelicans 114-98. LA is now 112 of 15, but currently loses a tie with Minnesota for the 6th seed out west. The Washington Capitals lost last night 5-1 to Carolina, but that one goal from Alex Ovechkin, who now has 892 for his career, so that's 3 shy of Wayne Gretzky's all-time mark. The Hurricanes clinched a playoff spot with that win. So did the Leafs, a 3-2 win over Florida. Toronto has now made the postseason 9 straight years. And Sacramento State
the Hornets
is expected to ask the NCAA for permission to move up to FBS football as an independent. Because they don't have a conference invite, they need a waiver to move up from the NCAA. The Hornets are upping their commitment overall to athletics, more NIL money. They just hired Mike Bibby to be their men's basketball coach.
Former Nick.
I'm
Mike
actually
Bibby.
glad you brought up Mike Bibby because I got to correct something that we got wrong earlier in the show. Mike Bibby, famously a teammate of Chris Webber. Chris Webber was drafted by Orlando that immediately traded him to Golden State. Then he went to Washington. We got that backwards. Apologies for that.
Meaning me.
Perloff got that wrong, but I'm always willing to share the blame. And to be honest, the reason why I was even looking up Chris Webber is because you asked me, has anyone gone back to college and not gone number 1 overall like you think Cooper Flagg may?
Cock.
Bogusch, stop. Cooper Flagg, you think he could go back to Duke if they don't win the title? You asked it. I said, well, no one's ever done that in the history of the NBA. Now, Chris Webber did stay a second year at Michigan, but
that was a different era.
It was a different era. Also, that was 1993. Do you guys remember who was the number 1 overall pick in 1992?
Not a chance.
It was Shaq. So I don't think that anyone was going first overall over Shaq.
Yeah, I mean,
you mean Celtics legend Shaquille O'Neal?
Manny only knows history after the year 2000. So
God,
yes.
you're the worst.
So I don't even think Chris Webber applies, even though there was nothing that was technically keeping him at Michigan, but he did come back for the second year, right?
Yeah, I mean, guys have stayed in school, but this is a consensus number 1 pick.
But back then,
I just want to make sure
it was
Chris
a different
Webber
time.
Chris Webber did stay 2 years at Michigan.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah,
because the North Carolina timeout.
Of course,
was
the
second.
timeout.
But, the number, he wasn't a surefire number 1 even that year because, trust me, my Sixers botched this whole thing. It was, remember, Chris Webber was 1, Sean Bradley was 2, Petty Hardaway was 3, but there was a lot of shenanigans because the Magic said we're coming away with Hardaway. It said in the documentary, and the Sixers are saying we're coming away with Bradley, and there was a lot of negotiation. It was the draft that ruined my life because Sean Bradley did not work out. We could have had Chris Webber, and it would have been
crazy. You guys were sandwiched between Chris Webber and Penny.
Yeah, I know. And they had Barkley. No, Barkley was gone, I guess, at that point. But there was a lot of there was sort of talent floating around the Sixers. If they had added Webber or Penny.
By the way, the draft that ruined your life was when you traded away what was Jason Tatum for Markelle Fultz.
Oh, you have no idea. The Sixers traded Moses Malone for Jeff Ruland, and then they traded the number 1 overall pick in the draft for Roy Hinson, who played like 1.5 injury-plagued season, became Brad Doherty. The Sixers have made some bad ones. Don't get me started. The Phillies traded Ryan Sandberg, by the way. I don't want to get into that. Everyone knows their own team's
all
bad.
Your pressure points.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan also went back to college, but again...
Well, he was probably not guaranteed number 1.
The year before, that was 1997. 1996, the number 1 pick in the draft was Allen Iverson, so I don't know if he would have gone...
Yeah, I remember that in terms of just reading stuff, that Duncan definitely could have left and would have possibly been number 1.
He was young, though. Remember how young he was?
fourth year at Wake,
He went
right?
for a fourth year, yeah.
Yeah, but remember he was ridiculously young for a fourth-year player. I think he was still 20 or something.
So that's basically since the merger. Once you get to the year 2000, there's absolutely nobody who even like Greg Oden, I guess, could have gone back to college, but he would not have done that. He went number 1 overall. Like Blake Griffin could have gone back to Oklahoma. John Wall, Kyrie, Anthony Davis, like all these guys came out. Nobody who was going to be the number 1 overall pick decided to go back to college.
Especially the freshman guy also, because some of those guys are mentioning are, like I said, Joakim Noah, Marcus Smart. He was a freshman, so he fits in there, but it's not a lot.
But he wasn't going to be number 1.
No, but he could have been in the top 3 maybe.
Wait,
Joakim Noah did decide to go back to
Joakim Noah
college.
Definitely could have been number 1, and he went back to college.
Again, and I know it's like pre-NIL, but he also had a different situation where his dad was a professional athlete, so maybe the money, it's not like he was lifting his parents out of poverty
he
or
was
whatever.
also a big late bloomer, too.
Let me ask you this question.
But
how much do you think Cooper Flagg could earn in NIL next year at Duke?
Not as much as he'll get paid as the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. I don't think he's making what
But
not $20 million.
I think he could. There was a rumor that Caitlin was on target to get $20 million if she went back to Iowa.
I don't think he's Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, Caitlin is unique.
Yeah, because
but
Duke is
he
Duke.
could
Iowa, women's
he'd definitely
hoops.
get in the teens. I mean, for money.
But you mean somebody is going to pay him to go
Yes.
to Duke for that? Not
He's
going to
get collective money and Apple commercials.
But he
and
already has. He already has those commercials.
Yeah, he already made, what did he make this year?
I don't know.
I assume it jumps by 200%. He's like an even bigger star if he goes back. I mean, again, I'm stretching a little bit, but it is a different calculus. Those guys were getting paid nothing.
No, it's a different calculus. I'm just wondering, when everyone throws these numbers around, like some of them are attached to businesses who are going to pay him like Caitlin Clark, no matter where they play, professionally or in college. So what matters is the money that Duke is going to give him, and like the Duke. Like, so is somebody really writing an $11 million check to make him play basketball at Duke? That's not New Balance, not Gatorade. Like, this is like Duke money is what I want to know the number.
Right. Sorry. The NBA number 1 overall pick makes $10.5 million their first year, but the 4-year rookie contract is worth more than $57 million. And that's just the NBA.
According to On3, Flagg's NIL valuation was $4.8 million, second highest among all college athletes, only behind Arch Manning.
Well, so that's a Shedeur I know made more than that, but they probably is a pro athlete now. Yeah. Shedeur made $6 million last year, right? Anyway, but that's a lot of money. He's already got the guy's a millionaire many times over. I think he has more options than say Allen Iverson or Tim Duncan. But
Still not going back.
Nah, probably not. But I still like my theory.
If you missed our interview with Brendan Haywood, where he was just like, "I'm sorry,
Nobody
are you
does.
nuts?" It was
Shire
great.
got. By the way, it's enough of a topic that Shire got asked twice about it yesterday. Once on the Dan Patrick Show, and once at his press conference. So
Yeah, and like, to be fair, you're not coming out of this by yourself. Like, you've talked to people who think you've been tipped to the idea that this is on the table.
Yeah,
you're not just shooting.
There are a marketing guy told me, there are a lot of marketers who think that he's going to have a second year of deals at Duke.
Right,
but they probably, they're probably wishful thinking. You know what I mean? They probably all want him to come back and do these
I
deals.
guess my theory with all these guys, and it happened with Caitlin Clark, is why can't they just get these deals as pros?
Right.
Like
Caitlin,
like Cooper Flagg is still going to be super marketable as the number 1 pick in the draft, playing for whatever team he's playing on. If he's playing for the Sixers or the Brooklyn Nets, my gosh, that's even bigger for him.
Yeah, but Utah, Washington, maybe they worry about are more people watching a Duke basketball game than a Utah Jazz game?
Maybe not, but if you're Vitamin Water, like, are you saying, okay, that knocks off $10 million off of a deal, or are you talking about a couple of million maybe?
Yeah.
I don't think we're talking about a massive difference. For Cooper Flagg, this is a guy who's going to play in the NBA for 15 years, right? So you're trying to build a relationship. You don't want to say, it's the first 3 years and then we'll see what happens. You don't want to get burned.
Caitlin's a little different, though, because the WNBA salaries are not caught up to that.
Oh, yeah, they're minuscule.
Yeah, and there was a lot of eyeballs on her in the women's Final Four, so that was a little different. But I don't think anyone really doubted her. She had one more year left at Iowa, and she decided to leave. So I think maybe the COVID year. But that made sense. And she's going to make enough money that they're all fine. They're all making more money than any of us will ever dream of.
Well, that's a given.
Cooper Flagg already made $5 million. The dude's 18, just turned 18.
Yeah, but that's part of it.
He's got
talking
a lot
about
more.
professional athletes. This is like monopoly money. It's
Yeah.
abstract. It's not
Yeah. He's going to be fine. And he's also got a little talent, that guy.
Pretty
Someone
good.
tells me he's going to make it.
Oh, is that right?
888-710-4ISN. Bogusch, thanks so much. Coming up, we've got Would You Rather. You've got to hear. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
Three, two, one. All right. This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute. The most famous college basketball storyline, of course, is David versus Goliath. That's not available to us this year with 4 number 1 seeds. But based on the Vegas odds, we do have a true Goliath. Duke looks like it's going to be hard to beat. We know about Cooper Flagg, the star freshman, but the Blue Devils' defense has been a revelation. So even if there's no Cinderella, if you're looking for a favorite to root against, as usual, Duke fits the bill. As usual, Duke fits the bill. I'm Andrew Perloff. This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute. ESPN's Adam Schefter recently reported that it seems that the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants are going to pass on quarterback Shedeur Sanders. That's a bit of a surprise. They picked 2 and 3 because Cleveland and New York both need quarterbacks. If the Colorado QB does fall, that means teams really don't think he's got talent, or maybe there's some baggage, or they don't want his father Dion in the building. Either way, the drama is...
$45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Got a what if for you, Pearl.
Hit me.
Would you rather go to the Final Four or the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
Okay, but I'm giving you 3 games of the Final Four and the championship game. Sorry, I'm giving you everything. I'm giving you the whole weekend. I'm giving you Saturday night.
Yep.
And then I'm giving you Monday.
Gotcha. Super Bowl.
Wow. Not even a hesitation.
I've had some bad experiences at the Final Four. I do love the Final Four, but I went to my Villanova Wildcats were playing Oklahoma. It was the worst basketball game I've ever been to in my life.
But is this the year the Villanova won?
Yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't the last game you saw.
No, I had to leave before Monday. But I got to tell you, does anyone remember this game? It was a Buddy Hield's Oklahoma team.
Yeah, he went cold.
It was the awful. Biggest blowout in Final Four history. The other game
but that would have been, was that the Villanova game-winning shot over North Carolina to win it all?
Game, I couldn't say for that.
Okay, but think about it.
Yeah.
Think of how your answer could be different had you just been able to stay for that title game. That was one of the most exciting title games ever. Chris Jenkins.
Do you remember we were at a Final Four recently, and I stayed for the games, and you had to fly off?
Yeah.
They were not good. There's something...
But you can't do this because you've been to the Super Bowl to watch the Eagles win. So obviously you got the euphoria of 2 of those.
I had to watch San Diego State, Florida Atlantic for a ticket that costs thousands of dollars.
But if you had stayed for the Villanova championship, don't you think, because they are your Wildcats, even though they're also your Tar Heels and your everyone else, do you think that you would have the same answer? Because you would have had the awesome celebration.
I'm playing the odds, though. You didn't give me, you're not going to get a buzzer beater every year. I found the student sections were amazing. Mm-hmm. There's 2 problems. This is going to sound like sour grapes. There's 2 problems. The stadiums are not built for basketball, the ones I've been to.
Yeah, you're playing
That's
a
real
stadium.
factor.
Yeah.
And the crowd is not as into it.
But people could say that about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, big time.
Very corporate crowd. Super Bowl was a blowout this year.
Yeah, but it was a home crowd. It was at least you had a home team. It was a pure Eagles crowd.
Sure, but it was for everyone else. It wasn't that exciting because the game was over.
But the stadium felt electric because you had everybody there rooting for one team. It was bizarre. I don't know how that happened. It felt a little more like an NFL game. There are antiseptic Super Bowls.
Definitely. The first one I ever covered, it was actually Packers-Steelers. This was a long time ago, Aaron Rodgers versus Ben Roethlisberger, and it was at Jerry World. And I just remember thinking, oh, this is what everyone's talking about. And those are 2 amazing fan bases, 2 of the best we have.
You sent me back to 1993, and you have Chris Webber and North Carolina and old school college basketball, nowadays football. I'm sorry.
Is it that cut and dry for you guys over there, too? If I gave you Final Four or Super Bowl, and you get both Final Four games and you get the championship game, and I guess in theory your team is winning in
No.
scenarios.
You don't get your team. You're a neutral fan. Your team's not playing in either scenario.
Oh, okay.
That's
you want to do
fair.
neutral side.
Yeah, neutral.
And go to one or the other. Neutral.
Mm-hmm.
I feel weird because I haven't been at the Super Bowl game, but I've been in the Super Bowl, so I've never been to a Final Four. So part of me wants to kind of go Final Four.
Yeah. Well, you get 3 games.
Final Four is great. I love the Final Four.
I really don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of people who think the Final Four is the best sporting event we have.
There are a lot of people who think the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament is just as good as the Final Four.
Definitely.
That's fair. I mean, it's so different. It's so chaotic. The onslaught, the places you have no idea where they are, the schools, new stars getting made.
Here's why I say Final Four, because I think the Final Four experience, is probably way better in person than on TV, where I feel like Super Bowl is the opposite. Super Bowl television experience is way better than going.
My experience, I've been to a handful of Final Four games, is their same kind of problems you have with the Super Bowl happen at the Final Four. They're these cavernous football stadiums, and they're kind of weird vibes to me.
Well, usually the shooting is off on the first.
Yeah,
in
the eye lines are weird
because the guys don't have the depth perception. Because all of a sudden you're in a football stadium and it's harder to shoot. You're on this elevated platform. It's weird.
And the problem is and maybe this is just my imagination. In football games, you're further back from the court. So in a basketball arena, you go up more. It just hasn't been perfect for me, but it's been amazing. I sound like such a jerk right now.
Of course.
But just going to the Super Bowl, who doesn't want to go to the Super Bowl? It's the best.
I don't know. I think the Final Four holds a really strong place. Like, if we open this up and was like, what's the one sporting event you want to go to, like, period, full stop?
Masters would be a big one.
I think a lot of people go Masters. World Cup
final.
Some people might say the Olympics if you're into that kind of thing. It's such a spectacle.
I think to Perloff's point, to the flip side, I think now if you're talking about my teams are in the Final Four or the Super Bowl, I'd rather go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, I think that's a chance. Like, winning a Super Bowl is still the biggest prize out of anything.
Right.
So seeing my team, now I'm a Jets fan, so maybe it's a little weird. But even if I was
never
any
gonna
team,
I'm just kidding, EJ.
Seeing that team win a Super Bowl is just like, that would be the creme de la creme. I got to go to that.
Okay, but if you were, you're a huge Zags fan, but you didn't actually attend Gonzaga University. You've been a fan from 3,000 miles away. Do you think if you spent 4 years in Spokane, it'd be different?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe, for sure.
You're not getting a title there either way.
You guys are jerks.
EJ didn't deserve that. EJ Stewart, thank you. Manny Rodriguez, thank you. Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan. Weedos, Coffee Jerkers. If you missed our interview with Brendan Haywood talking about what it was like to be teammates with both Michael Jordan and LeBron James, that was awesome. Catch it on the Maggie and Perloff podcast. We'll have Tom Crean. Oh, Rami. Thank you, Rami. Tom Crean tomorrow.